What's good, everyone? This is Justin Just Rock Ramon from the Just Right podcast, where elevation is our recreation. Super excited for you to check out our next episode as it features an incredible guest who goes by the name Luis, aka MrTraveler. Luis is a SoCal-based trekker, peak bagger, backpacker, solo world traveler, outdoor content creator, community leader, and is the founder of Vamos Hiking Crew. We chatted about Luis's first meaningful memories out in nature, his spiritual awakening on Mount Whitney, the origin story to creating Vamos Hiking Crew, and celebrating 3 years of building community on Cucamonga Peak, his top international trails, our HIGHLANDER Big Bear Lake hiking and backpacking festival experience, travel tips and hiking hacks, the Inca Trail and what Peru means to him, and the one outdoor experience he would relive all over again. In addition to this YouTube video version you're watching right now, we have audio versions available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and on all the other major streaming platforms. You can find those links in the description. All right, let's get to trekking and get into this episode. All right, y'all, we are back at it with another episode with another amazing guest and a super badass guest at it. We're out here in Debs Park, a true gem of a park just northeast of downtown LA. And right here next to me is Luis, aka MrTraveler. Mr. Vamos, he is a SoCal-based trekker, peak bagger, solo world traveler, culture seeker, outdoor content creator, and is the founder of Vamos Hiking Crew. So excited to say, welcome to the Just Right podcast, Luis.
It's my absolute pleasure, man. Thank you for inviting me. I just want to say I appreciate the work that you do and happy to be sitting here next to you, man.
Yeah, it's great to have you on, Luis. Like, we've been both following each other's journeys for the past several years. And I feel definitely this year we've been connecting, especially more in person, having little chit chats at different events. And it's just been great to connect with you more because obviously we follow each other on social media. We see what we're up to hosting or our solo adventures, but to actually get to learn more about you, your upbringing, more about your vision for Vamos, it was really special at those different events to kind of just get to know you more behind the Instagram handle.
Yeah, and I think that's what's important about what you and I are building and many other people is that community, right? Where we get to learn about each other, regardless of where we live or where we come from. And then what's the beauty of I think these conversations and the conversations that we have on trail is just that, learning from each other and building everything that we're building. So that's pretty cool.
Very cool. And even more cool is that this year, not too long ago, we even co-hosted a day hike experience with a post-trek social. It was Just Trek, Vamos Hiking Crew, LA Trail Killers, in partnership with Highlander Adventure.
Yeah.
We were helping promote their Highlander Adventure Big Bear Lake hiking and backpacking festival at the towards the end of June, which was like the beginning of summer.
Yeah.
And I know that we're going to be talking about that a bit further into the pod because I feel that was definitely a big highlight for both of us, or a very memorable one to kind of start off the 2025 summer season. And also, I know that recently you've been riding a mountain high of sorts, and that you just celebrated the 3-year anniversary of the Vamos Hiking Crew. How does that feel, man? I'm going to give you a round of applause for that
Me too,
because
me too.
that's major.
It was a fun event. Very happy about celebrating 3 years. It's not easy to lead a group or a crew of hiking individuals or people that love nature and the outdoors. So I'm very happy about Vamos Hiking Crew and what we've accomplished so far. The people that are involved, the people that spend time and energy building this little movement of ours. We had the celebration at Cucamonga, the mountain.
That's what I was going to ask you. How did you choose to commemorate this milestone?
Yeah, so about 3+ years ago, a few friends of ours and mine's, we were training to hike Mount Whitney at the time. And so our first major goal was Cucamonga. Amongst ourselves, we were like, all right, we got to push for our goal of a mountain and a training plan. We had other mountains in mind, but we were definitely eyeing Cucamonga first and foremost. So, we were training hard, especially my friends that weren't hikers like me at the time. So I was pushing them, motivating them. And yeah, one of those days back again, 3+ years ago, we all summited Cucamonga. It was four of us, Jorge, myself, my brother, Carlos, and another Carlos, actually five of us, and we all summited Cucamonga that day. That
Nice.
officially I mark as the creation of Vamos Hiking Crew, because again, it was all about reaching a mountain, fulfilling a goal as part of our bigger training to hiking Mount Whitney, which we also did, by the way. We summited Cucamonga. It was tough for a few of them. It took us a long time, but again, the feeling of bringing friends together or a group together to hike a mountain was just beautiful. And that was the day that I would kind of say that Vamos was officially formed.
Oh, that's such a great story and such an amazing trail to have the celebration. I would argue that's one of the most gorgeous trails in all of Southern California. So many beautiful sections, Ice House Canyon, where you first start through, and then you get to Ice House Saddle, which is like the big intersection where you can do the 3Ts, Cucamonga Peak, Ontario Peak, and then the actual summit itself, I think is one of the coolest summits as part of the SoCal Six Pack of Peaks Challenge. There's that ledge that looks really sketchy in the photos, but if you actually see it in real life, it's not so bad. And there's also it's also a large summit where you can camp.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I love Cucamonga. A little bit of an interesting story because I've been hiking for about 10 years nonstop,
Wow, a
avidly.
decade, okay.
And funny enough, my very first major peak here in SoCal was Cucamonga. And I did it solo.
Wow.
I did it solo as well back in the time. I was a little heavier at the time, so I was like personally trying to lose weight and be more fit. So trust me, I still vividly remember hiking Cucamonga alone. I was sweating, I was suffering, I was in pain. But I remember two things about that trek. One, the feeling of just being able to accomplish some things by yourself, and actually, I didn't see anybody on the trail that one day. And two, seeing bighorn sheep along the trail, which was
No
magical.
way.
Back in the day, this was about 10 years ago, mind you. There weren't that many hikers on the trail, right? Not a lot of people were hiking out there. So wildlife was a little bit more present. So seeing the bighorn sheep was just magical in Cucamonga. And yes, to go back to your point, it is, at least for me, one of my favorite mountains here, for special purposes of me being my first mountain peak. But also, you're right. One of the things that I love about the trail itself is when you're reaching the peak, right? You have that little big push, right? After you get, once you're getting close to it, and it kind of opens up, right? The whole valley of you pretty much can see the whole Inland Empire from up there.
Oh yeah, best
As,
views of the Inland Empire for sure.
as you walk to that rock, that ledge that you mentioned, and that's just a beautiful summit for anybody that wants to like try it out, because as you're walking up to the summit, then the whole valley opens up, and then you get that beautiful view, that beautiful reward, and it's just really special.
And oh my goodness, Cucamonga Peak, if you can be there at the summit when there's a sea of clouds, my goodness, it feels like you're in heaven. That might be one of the most dramatic summits to be above a sea of clouds, would you say?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you get lucky enough to get that sea of clouds, it's just another level of just magic, right? Of pure inspiration, motivation to keep, pushing for other peaks. If I try to recollect other places and other summits, there's not a lot of places where you can see that type of stuff. Cucamonga is quite special because of that and so many other things.
It's literally positioned in the perfect place for that sea of clouds. It's so unreal. It's like a blanket.
Well, you're right in the middle, right? You're right in the middle of pretty much seeing the whole Inland Empire Valley. You have San Bernardino and San Jacinto on your left, and then you have Ontario and Pomona on your right, and LA, of course. Up ahead, I'm just kind of like describing the perception as you see that sea of clouds, and then like further south, the whole pretty much the actual sea. On a clear day, you can actually see Catalina as well. So it's a breathtaking view, a breathtaking summit under the right conditions, under any conditions.
Yeah,
I would
under
say.
any conditions, for
Under
sure.
any conditions, I think Cucamonga is special. And you know what made it even more special for us as the Vamos hiking crew is the challenge itself, because it's not an easy mountain.
No, it is
It's not an easy peak. A lot of people do struggle hiking Cucamonga. You got about 6-7 miles to get to the summit, and then about 35, almost to 4,000 feet of elevation gain. That's a lot. And it's not a beginner's hike, it's not a beginner's mountain, it's more intermediate to a bit, hard. And so like people who summit and challenge themselves, which is part of our kind of vision and foundation of Vamos Hiking Crew, is to challenge oneself, which is why we keep going back to celebrating and going, again, going back to Cucamonga as much as we can.
When you did your 3-year celebration trek to Cucamonga Peak, did some of you backpack the night before, or did you keep it as just a one-day hike? I think I saw something on Instagram where you invited maybe people to backpack it the night before and then celebrate the next morning with the rest of the group, or was that another time?
We were going to backpack, but ultimately we just decided to day hike. A few
Okay.
people did backpack that day, and we were offering the option to do so because again, waking up at Cucamonga Peak and witnessing that like sunrise or even that sunset, super special. I highly recommend it for anybody. But no, most of the people just day hike that day.
I've seen so many sunrise overnight backpacking content from Cucamonga Peak where I was like, okay, I need to make that happen like ASAP.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a must. I've done it 2 times where, again, I've been lucky enough to get beautiful sunsets and sunrises, those magical sea of clouds. So it's highly recommended. There's a lot of space, like you said, up there at Cucamonga Summit to backpack and put your tents, some beautiful spots as well. So highly recommended.
And what were those emotions like when you brought up a large group of hikers, your group, the Vamos Hiking Crew, to the summit, taking the content, taking the selfies? What were those emotions like for you when you were just reflecting back on that specific moment up there?
Gosh, I mean, so many emotions. I'm not particularly an emotional guy. Just part of my personality and character is just to be a bit more reserved. But that day, I tell you, it's just seeing the people in the community, friends, new hikers that we've never seen on our group before, was just so memorable, and it makes you feel all sorts of things, perhaps even cry, but more of happiness, really, to
Tears of
see,
happiness.
yeah, tears
Yeah,
of happiness,
literally.
because, like I've said, like, creating, organizing, coordinating, and keeping a hiking crew together is not easy. You know this very well. And so when you bring people together that love the outdoors, love the challenges, love what we do, and then you see friendships being formed, brotherhood and sisterhood, and just community. It's special. It's like really, it's truly special. It's like I'm really just a guy, to be honest. I'm just a person who loves to do this. It's a passion of mine, not just hiking, but also traveling. And when I bring people together and share that passion and that love, and they also become passionate about it and they love this stuff and keep doing it on their own or with friends, I mean, that's the reward right there. When you see other people bringing together and even probably even doing their own thing, right? And even going beyond,
Sure, yes.
your own personal goals. That's just super special. On that day, we had a lot of people that had been hiking with us since the beginning. A few of the people that I mentioned that hiked that first Cucamonga Peak with me were there, my friends. And then new friends, of course, part of our crew. And what was even more special, and I'll tell you this, I really didn't expect it. We had about 63 people that hiked that day to the
Wow.
peak. And that was like, whoa, mind blowing. Like,
Hiking army.
63 people to Cucamonga Peak. I mean, it's not an easy mountain.
Everyone
Uh,
summited.
we could have picked like a park or like an easy mountain and then have like a massive amount of people go there. But no, I mean, we love the challenge, right? And when we saw 60 plus people wanting to do the challenge themselves, not only was my mind blown, but I was also humble, because what we're creating with Vamos and what I see other groups creating as well, which is beautiful, is again providing a space, right, for people to be able to challenge themselves, b meeting new friends, maybe doing something that they don't typically do, just get out there,
Yeah.
maybe they never hiked before, which we do have hikers that do that. And yeah, we even had a baby. Just so you know, we had a baby. A mother took one of those baby carry things, and like she took her baby up there.
Wow.
We had a 63-year-old lady as well. Again, to see the age range are the people that hike with us, from a baby to like a 60-something-year-old lady, and like all performing so beautifully to reach a peak together. It was a special day. It was a very special day, and again, lots of emotions and lots of happiness for sure.
That baby was riding VIP because I'm pretty sure the baby was on that Osprey
Yeah, the Osprey carry
backpack.
backpack thing. Yeah. No, and they took a few photos of the baby there, and it was just really awesome to see.
Every time I see parents and they have the Osprey backpack with their kid, I'm like, man, they're so lucky. Like, I wish my parents, were outdoorsy when I was growing up. And
Yeah.
I had memories of being in an Osprey, like VIP, like being carried up the mountain. But I gotta tell you, I was so bummed that I couldn't make it out to your anniversary because literally that same day, I was co-hosting a going away birthday beach party at Venice Beach for my hiking crewmate. His name's Mark Nieto. He was episode 1, so that's why I couldn't make it. I was busy hosting that all day
Yeah,
Saturday.
no worries, man.
But I was definitely thinking of you because, when I'm even in Venice Beach, I know it's not the San Gabriel Mountains, but I can see the Santa Monica Mountains in the distance. And anytime I'm at a beach and I can see the mountains in the distance, I'm like, I need to get on out there like now.
Absolutely. And I mean, how lucky are we, right? That on that day we were up in the mountains here in the Cucamonga wilderness, and then you at the beach. I mean, only
There
in
you go.
SoCal can you do such things, right? Where you're like, even especially in winter, right? You're snowboarding or skiing in the mountains here in SoCal, and then if you want, you could catch sunset at the beach. I mean, I think it's one of the very unique and special things about the place that we live, and how blessed and lucky we are to be able to do that and kind of choose our adventure, whatever that is.
Yeah, SoCal, we got it all. Different parts of the country have very gorgeous, dramatic landscapes, but the big plus and advantage in SoCal is that we can recreate all year long for the most part because of the sunny weather. In the winter, I love posting content, on the beach or in the mountains, not having to deal with snow or like rain or like super overcast. Like, I always tell people, like, everyone should live in Southern California at least like for a little bit, even if it's like a month or a few months, just to see how the Cali living is.
Absolutely, man.
All right, Luis, before we get into more of your recent travels and adventures, I do want to learn more about you and your outdoor journey and dig deeper into that. So I want you to take us back. What would you say was your first meaningful memory out in nature?
Oh gosh, that's a tough question. So many early on memories, I would say. I always like to tell the story of my dad taking me and my brother out hiking back in Guatemala, which is where I was born and raised up till I was like 9. And I have really vivid memories of him taking us out to the forest. We were lucky enough to live back then in a rural like town. It was still close to the capital, Guatemala, but I mean, it wasn't as populated as it is now. Now, I just recently went back. I go as much as I can, but it really surprised me just how blown up the population has like really increased in Guatemala, and how like everything's occupied. But back in the day when I was a kid, we had our house again in this town. Our backyard was literally a forest.
A jungle?
Not a jungle, but more like a forest,
Okay.
pine trees and like this type of forest, oak and what have you. But me and my dad, myself, and my brother, we used to hike all the time in that backyard of a forest. And again, vividly remember him having his machete and like pretty much cutting trail, man, for us.
Wow.
Like cutting trail in the forest, and like, all right, we're gonna explore here. We're gonna you go there, and our goal was like another town like that was miles away with the high elevation, and like we were kids, man. It was me. I think I was like 7, perhaps. My brother was like 6 or 5. And we were just out there,
Wow.
like just my dad breaking trail and just going through like creeks and rivers and seeing wildlife, mostly deer, and then getting to our goal, which was the other city up north. And then our reward used to be back in Guatemala. We have like a lot of atoles y tostadas, which are like hard tortillas with guacamole like on top.
All
So
right, all right.
that was like our reward, right? A tostada with guacamole, un atol, and we were happy. And then we would take a bus back to our home because it was that far.
Oh, he
I'm
took
not,
you out like out there.
yes, I mean, I'm not kidding you. It was maybe like 10 to 15 miles, just one way to get to that little like other town. But you know, again, that love for the outdoors that I have, I owe to my dad and what he did back in the day.
Wow.
Those, I think those were like the first like vivid memories that I can recall of me saying like, whoa, this is like crazy, this is cool, like I wanna do this every weekend. And yes, he did that. Not only did he take us hiking in our backyard of a forest, but also like all over Guatemala, jungles, lakes, rivers, like all over the place. And even when we emigrated here to the States, again, when I was like a 9, he used to take us all over the San Bernardino Mountains,
Oh, here in SoCal, okay.
Baldy, Cucamonga. Like he used to take us all over those places as well to explore. Because I mean, the love that he has for nature, he instilled on us. And you know, again, 40 plus years later, here I am, still hiking and still a lover of nature and the outdoors and traveling because of my dad and my parents.
Wow, what a special relationship you have with your father. He instilled in you everything that you're doing now. He passed the torch to
Yeah.
you at a very young age. Now I understand a bit more like why you do these longer hikes, these challenging hikes. Your dad was already bringing you when you were a young buck, because you just said he'd bring you out into the forest, you go traversing the mountains. You just said 15 miles, and you're not even like hiking back because you went so far out. You had to take a bus to get back home.
Yeah, dude.
That's
I mean,
wild.
he was merciful at least, right? He's like, I'm not gonna take you back hiking, guys, because we're gonna take a bus back home, you know. And like even to this day, because my dad's still around, he's retired now, but even to this day, he's just like, whenever he sees me like going on a trek or a hiking trek, he's like, hey, let me go with you. I'm like, oh, Dad, I appreciate your emotion and you know the motivation that you have, but like the trek that I'm doing is quite hard. But he's like, no, I could do it. Not only could I do it, I could beat you too.
Ooh, ooh, ooh.
Yes, absolutely. So yeah, love my dad and what he did for me and my brother. Because again, to this day, my brother and I still hike, and again, Vamos is part of that as well. And again, my passion for hiking and trekking and the outdoors comes from him.
Your father, when he saw that you created a hiking group, did he have any particular words for you? Was he surprised? Like, what did he have to say for you?
No, I don't think he was surprised. I think he expected that to come from me. And even right now that we celebrated our 3rd year, you know, he's so happy. He's like singing happy birthday to me and my brother about the hiking crew. And again, right, like just egging on that he wants to go and hike. He's quite old now, you know, obviously. And, you know, he still walks every single day. He actually did you know, what was that? The Thunder, the
Okay,
mountain,
in the
right?
Mount Baldy area,
Baldy,
Thunder Mountain.
with my brother a few months ago, and yeah, he did it spectacularly well. So he still has it in him, you know, to go out there and do some hikes here and there.
Dude, that's so special that you still have him around and that he can still do these hikes and that you can still share these trail memories with him. I think that's so special, being that he introduced you to nature and the outdoors at such a young age.
And yes, absolutely. And you know, one of the things that I personally love to see out on the trails is a parent and their child. You know, like when I see that, and I see that a lot, especially with us and other groups as well. It's just, you know, brings back all those memories. And I always tell those parents, keep doing what you're doing, because what you're doing may very well shape the future of your child in a positive way. Because what we do out there, at least for me personally, and I know you feel the same way, it's all positive, right? For our mental health, for our physical health, for our emotional health. And yeah, this stuff really like rejuvenates you, resets you, gives you energy, and it's just a healthy way of living life. And when I see a parent and their child do that, I applaud them, because it's the best thing that a parent can do for their child. Get them out there versus just keeping them in their house or in their homes without seeing nature.
Man, such a great point, because this new generation of children, what do they grow up in? Their tablets, their phone. That's actually the other parent, is when they're just on their phone or they're just watching cartoons or they're playing so wrapped up in the video games, they're living in their screen. They're not actually interacting in the playgrounds or like the natural world. You know, I feel like, you know, when you introduce someone at such a young age, a baby, a toddler, you know, I think they, for the most part, grow up much more humbled and appreciative and much more in gratitude when they get old and when they get into their older years in life.
Yeah, man. I see it. I see it all over. There's a parent. Her name is Judy, by the way. Hi, Judy. And she keeps bringing her son to our hikes, to our treks, and to my trips, even. You know,
Treks,
like
trips, treks.
he actually just hiked the Inca Trail with us when we took him to. I took a group to Peru.
What's the name of this kid? I think you've
Boone.
shouted it. Boom,
Boone,
right?
13-year-old Boone. I mean, again, this guy is a
Beast.
beast. I mean, he's done some of the crazy stuff that we've done, like hiking the Grand Canyon rim to rim, doing the Inca
What?
Trail. And as a matter of fact, I was telling him, because he was always behind me, like pushing himself. And he's like, hey, let's trail run the Inca Trail. We trail run the Inca Trail in part, and he was just right behind me, like pushing himself. And this past weekend, actually, we did a 14er in the Eastern Sierras called Split Mountain. Guess what? Boone did it as well. And so, like, when I see
Wow.
this type of stuff of the parent, in this case, Yuri, and her son, Boone, like, hiking together, hugging each other, when they reach the peak, and high-fiving each other, and just, building that bond and that relationship, that in itself, I think, is worth all the time that I've spent building this community in Vamos. And again, it's just so special. And he's not the only one. There's another kid called Stevan. He's also really young, and he's doing all this crazy stuff and all these hikes. The baby that I mentioned, right? Like, taking the baby up there, that's crazy, but also so awesome to see.
Yes.
And so many kids. There's a handful of kids that have been hiking with us for quite a while. And that's the next generation, man. And I mean, to pass down the torch to those kids, maybe later in life, that would be such a reward on its own. So that's what I'm looking for.
You know what we're probably going to see from all, because there's so many hiking groups, especially in Southern California, we're going to start seeing like teenage hiking groups,
Dude, that'll be
toddler
that'll be
hiking
great.
groups.
That would be great.
You might need a chaperone
see
for the
that.
toddlers, but
Yeah.
you're probably going to see like teenage hiking groups being like a major thing probably
That'll be awesome.
sooner rather than later.
Absolutely. Why not?
Thank you for sharing your first meaningful memory out in nature. That was really special how like, you were just describing Guatemala and your father. And another aspect of you I wanted to touch upon, you're known as MrTraveler, which by the way, like obviously you travel a lot. You've been to over 35 plus countries. Like, did you give yourself that name or did someone just keep repeating that to you? Like, what's that story behind that name?
That's a good question. A friend of mine actually gave me that name, right? Essentially what you just said, right? He was always saying, hey, you're always traveling, you're always out there, like, why do you do it? You know what I'm gonna call you? I'm gonna call you Mr. Traveler. And so that name stuck, right? I'm like, all right, when I created my social pages, particularly Instagram, my friend gave me a nickname, MrTraveler, so that's what I'll go with. And it's stuck since then, So yeah, MrTraveler. Not only do I like the outdoors and hiking and all that, but also I'm passionate about traveling. It's just a whole different environment that you put yourself into outside of like the U.S. and our day-to-day life. Whether you work in corporate and in health or whatever, right? When you travel, you put yourself outside of your comfort, right? Their comfortable box or house or apartment or whatever it is, city, state, and then you essentially go to a foreign land, right, where they speak different languages, they have different cultures, and if you are one of those travelers that like to immerse themselves like myself, then not only do you learn all this stuff, but you also learn a lot about yourself, which not that you can't learn about yourself out here, but I think when you put yourself outside of your comfort zone, that's when that interesting and magical transformation happens. Where you're like, oh, like I didn't know that I would react this way in this particular situation. But that only happens when you go outside of your comfort zone.
That's where true growth happens.
Yes, and traveling is part of that. Hiking is part of that, right? When you like push yourself, and you're like, oh, I didn't think that I would have been able to do this, right? If I didn't try it, right? Or I didn't think that I was gonna like this type of cuisine if you didn't try it.
Yes, yes.
Or I didn't think that I was gonna like this type of different culture than the one that I grew up. And not only do I like it, but I'm learning things that I could take back with me to my home or my friends, whatever the case may be. So yes, going back to your question, as I'm explaining this to you, I was explaining this to my friend as to the why I travel a lot and as much as I do, and it's simply because I like to keep learning more about myself, keep growing, like you said, keep learning new things that could benefit my life and others, and become a better human being, overall. And that's why I love traveling, and that's where Mr. Traveler comes from.
MrTraveler is such an official name. Should I just call you Mr. Trekker now as well?
You know what? A lot of people call me Mr. Traveler. Like when I'm out there, I'm like, yeah, just call me Luis. I'm fine with Mr. Traveler too, but it's either or. I don't care. At this point.
Yeah, it's funny because, out in like traveling community or maybe the hiking community, there's trail names. I don't know if there's travel names per se, but as you know, like when we meet other people like on trail or at these other destinations, like they just know us as like our Instagram handle. They don't
Yeah.
even know our real names. So like,
Yeah,
hey, yo,
dude.
Mr. Traveler.
Yeah.
Hey, yo, Just Trek.
Like I was hiking Baldy one day, and I was just reached the summit, was chilling, and then out of nowhere I hear a lady say, "Hey, you're Mr. Traveler."
I love that. I love it.
I'm like, "Sure, yes. Hi, how are you?" And it was a pretty cool. It's pretty cool when that happens. Yeah.
Yeah, it means like your content's circulating, and not only that, like that your work, especially with Vamos hiking crew, is circulating as well. Like it's special when you can run into people on trail, and it's just like, wow, like people are people are paying attention.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's nice, and I do the same whenever I'm hiking too, or out in the mountains, and I recognize something or somebody. I'm like, oh, I call them by their handle.
You
It's
have
like,
to.
oh yeah, you're that person.
For sure, for
Yeah.
sure. And since we're speaking of travel, what was your first memorable solo travel experience?
Again, so many. I would say that my solo trip to Europe was perhaps my most memorable one. Absolutely. I did this maybe like 10 years ago, more than 10 years ago. Again, I booked one of those tours where you visit multiple cities and countries. At that one time, I went on I think a 9 country tour. It was pretty packed, we're pretty fast paced, but I wanted to explore as much as I could. And you're really never alone, right? Because you're with
True.
other travelers as well. But obviously, you are traveling solo. You're your own responsibility at that point. And so that was pretty special to do that. It was very memorable to go to Europe. First time in Europe and visiting so many countries and cities, and again experiencing different cultures and foods and people and languages. So that was pretty special. I mean, for me to kind of share my experience in each country would pretty much take hours. Needless to say that was kind of like my first major solo trip where I visited multiple countries and where for the first time ever I felt like this is something that I want to do for the rest of my life.
Wow.
Traveling to new places and doing as much as I can whenever I visit those countries. Because one of the things that I've learned is that when you visit a new place, you don't know if you're ever going to come back to that place. So at least the way I travel is that when I go to a place, I try to maximize as much of my time and visit as many places as I can.
Makes
Not a
sense.
lot of people like that, but I do because I'm able to like go to so many places, experience so many things, eat as much as I can, and drink as much as I can as well to be able to really learn about that place. And it helps too because if I ever go back, then I know exactly like where to go and where to go back
Exactly.
to if I liked it.
And I don't know if you can remember all the countries because I think you said you visited 9 on that first solo Euro trip, but like where were some of the places you did visit?
So that one time, yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to remember, but it was England, France, Austria, Switzerland, Germany, Netherlands,
Ooh,
Italy. Um, I forget the other two, but there's so many that on that particular trip.
So cool. I've only been to Europe once. I went to Italy for study abroad for 3 years, but this was like 2007. I'm sure it's a lot different now, but wow, that sounds like such a heavy hitter list of European countries to hit on your first solo trip.
Yeah, it was a 3 week trip. And so like we couldn't spend that much time in each country, but again, we got to see as much as we could with the little time that we had. Yeah.
And I know this may be impossible for you to choose, but like from that first solo trip out of those countries you visited, which one were you like when you landed back in the US, you're like, oh man, I can't wait to be back out there again?
Two actually that I've longed to go back to and spend even more time on it. The first one, Italy. I fell in love with Italy. You were there for a few years. It's just, I think the one thing that I loved about Italy was the food and the people. It's just like a whole different vibe,
So
Italy, you
different.
know? It's like from anywhere in the world. I love that. I love the language. You know, I wanna like learn Italian at one point soon in my life and spend a few years in Italy too, just living there. And the second one was Switzerland, just seeing the Swiss Alps.
That's right, the
I
dramatic
mean,
mountains there.
yes. It's one of the most amazing things. And as a hiker, as a trekker, seeing those snow-capped mountains is I I don't know if I've seen anything similar in the world compared to like Switzerland. It's just I know I keep saying the word magical, and viewers can maybe play a game of shots every time I say magic.
Hey, it's hard to come up with different vocabulary sometimes, you know?
Yes, no, but it is. It's just that, feeling of being in a different place and sometimes perhaps thinking that you're in a different world because this couldn't really be Earth when you're there, but it is. And it's there, and it's, people can go and see it for themselves, which is what I encourage or what I try to motivate people to do, And Switzerland was one of those places where you are just in awe. You're like, your mouth is open, like, whoa, I can't really believe that I'm seeing this, right? And you're trying to appreciate it as much as you can with the little time that you have. So Italy and Switzerland for sure are places that not only do I want to go back, but explore even more than I can.
To go back to Italy, I'll never forget my daily diet. It was literally margarita pizza or margarita pizza,
Margarita.
bruschetta, gelato, red wine, and there's another thing I'm forgetting, but that was literally my diet every day, and I somehow lost weight.
Yeah, it's so true, so true. Because it's all like organic, natural, without preservatives and all
Correct.
the crap that we eat here in our food or our food has. And so yeah, that's why. And then one of the other things that I'm sure you probably know is that you're walking all over the place.
Very true.
You're not like taking your car like we do here. It's like you're walking here, walking there. You're always standing. You're always active in those cities.
Yeah, and to your point, like the rest of the world, especially in Europe, like they just live a different kind of life. People are just walking everywhere. Here, like if you're walking, it's just literally from the parking lot to the store, right? And it's always a trip when you get outside of the U.S., whether you go to Asia or you go to Europe, just to see how other people operate, what they value too. I found that very fascinating with Italy. They really, all my lunches and dinners were like not 30 minutes or an hour. They're all like 2 to 3 hours long. And it's because they value fresh food, they value real conversations, friends and family, and they will take their time with that. And in Italy, they have midday siestas. Where like, like
The
in the middle
best.
of your work, so you can like rejuvenate and recharge yourself.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, well, they like to take a pause, they like to slow down. It's funny that you say that because everywhere in the world that I've gone to, it always seems like time slows down everywhere. And like people that travel with me or I travel with, they always say the same thing. It's like, why does it feel like we've been here for a month when we probably have only been here for 2 days? And the reason why is because life outside of the U.S. and in some other countries as well, similarly to the U.S., is that people take life more slowly, right? They appreciate life more. It's not all about your job. It's not about your work. It's about family, friends, socializing, going out there, enjoying life, you know? And that's one of the biggest differences that I've seen out there.
Yeah, because here in the U.S., there's such a massive hustle till you die culture. And I like to hustle, just I'm sure you like to hustle and like build your platforms or, create a small business or company. But like, yeah, it just feels too much sometimes. I think travel, getting outside, hiking, like that's what slows us down. That's what really grounds us and makes us realize what's actually really important. Like I feel like the hustle to die culture in the U.S. is, like I said, I like the hustle too, but I feel it can be very toxic.
It can be, man. I don't know when or how or why it happened here in the States. It didn't used to be like this. When I look back in the 60s, 70s, 1960s, 1970s, time was slow here as well, but something occurred.
Technology. The double-edged sword always.
I didn't want to say it, but yes, technology I think occurred, and like we went from this point to here in a blink of an eye, right? Where like everything was so quick and fast, and like we want everything now, right? And overpopulation too. We earlier before the podcast we were talking about traffic and all that, and how we're wasting hours on commuting. I think again it's something that I don't know if we're ever going to be able to change that here because it's too ingrained in our society. But one of the things that, going back to traveling, that we must do, and I encourage all the viewers to do, is to travel outside of the States. Go out there. I know that there's always like the horror story of, you're gonna get kidnapped, you're gonna get robbed when you go to these places. And I tell you, yes, there's always risk of everything, even here in the States.
Always, yeah.
But like, to be honest, I've never have had an instance where I felt threatened or scared at all in any country that I've been to. Recently went to Colombia. It used to be one of the most dangerous countries in the whole world.
Yes.
And they flipped that. Now it's very safe. You feel safe walking around. The people are so nice. The food is amazing. The tourist destinations out of this world. And it's a lovely, lovely place, like most countries in the world. And so you got to get out there and experience that. Yes, there is a different life out there other than the ones that we have here in the States. And once you get a little preview of that, oh boy. I mean, some people, like my friend here who just arrived, Manny, who's sitting right there.
Oh, that's your friend?
Yeah, that's my friend, Manny. Oh. Hey, Manny.
I thought he just overheard the conversation. No. He was like, let me just pull up right now.
Yeah, like this guy.
That like is so funny.
Like this guy's traveling all over the world too. And so like, I'm happy to not only see that, but also see other people getting a taste for this and then like taking off and just, traveling to every single continent and doing their own thing because it's an amazing feeling.
Does Manny also hike with you too?
Yes, he's part of my crew.
Manny, come in the shot real quick just so people see you. I really just thought you were like a random person. Oh, you're good. Just a quick 10-second cameo since you decided to pull up.
Yeah.
This will be fun to edit.
Yeah, I told my crew that we were going to be filming, and Manny's like, hey, I work real close, and he's like,
what's up?
What's up, brother?
What's up? Pleasure to meet Manny?
It's a pleasure. Yeah.
Pleasure, man.
Yeah.
That's so funny, guys. There's someone behind the camera. I didn't realize it was his friend.
Yeah, I came from work, so, well, technically, I'm on my break, but I'll be fine.
Right on.
Yeah.
Well, pleasure to meet you.
Likewise, man.
Thank you for being
Thanks for coming, bro.
being a part of the audience among the birds.
Manny hikes. Manny was there.
Oh, stoop down a little bit so you're in the frame. Yeah. Now he can see you.
Now you guys can probably see me.
There you go, guys.
Yeah, it's funny because I walked up the other way and then came back down. I was like, holy shit. Well, I don't know if I can cuss, but I was like, oh
you
my
can
God.
cuss.
I was like, oh my God, I can't find him. And I was about to go back to my job, and then eventually, somehow I just managed to walk by, and you guys were here.
Yeah, man.
So far, so good, though. I like it.
Dude, that's awesome. I love this.
Good to see you, bro.
Well, this was the first that we had a random surprise cameo.
Yeah.
But we welcome all to the podcast.
I didn't even think he was going to show up, but yeah, appreciate it, man.
Yeah, no worries. You guys are doing good. I'm going to be in the back,
Perfect.
Sorry.
No, you're good. Enjoy. I'll definitely have to clip this for sure. All right, Luis. I'd now love to touch upon all your incredible work with Vamos Hiking Crew. What just inspired you to create your own hiking group? How'd you come up with the name? Would love to get into all that.
Oh man, a lot of questions, really good questions, really good stories. Well, I touched a little bit on the why, right? Just the love of hiking and as a child, and the passion for the outdoors has been like instilled in my family through my dad and my parents. So I wanted to share that with people. I've been hiking for about 10 years nonstop, and most of those years I did it solo. Just going out there, bagging peaks or hitting on the trail, and just like doing it on my own. This was before COVID, and there used to be a few groups out there, like major groups, but they were more like clubs, and I joined them here and there. But it was very different back then because it was more like it's a club. We have like a lot of requirements and paying fees and all that because they run like organized commercial clubs.
Were you finding these clubs on meetup.com or was it through a different
No, it was
source?
like mostly internet.
Okay.
Like the biggest one is called US Hiking. I'm not sure if I think they're still out there because it's a major
US hiking.
yeah, country club, like all over the country. And they do a lot of stuff in the Sierras and back east as well, like the Appalachian Trail and what have you. So I think they're still out there. So I hike with them here and there. Then you have the Sierra Club that's also very like famous.
They've been around for so long. Yeah.
And I used to hike with them too back in the day. But I didn't do that many group hikes back then. It's just, when I saw something that I wanted to do and I wanted to experience, then I went with those particular clubs. Then COVID happened, right? And I came back to LA after COVID because I was living in Sacramento at the time when COVID actually happened. But I came back for like a year. We were talking about Highland Park, which we're close to. I used to live there. And I started seeing all these groups that were popping up here and there with different unique names and what have you, right? And I started joining those group hikes because I was living here. And I started meeting people, people who looked like me, right? As a Latino myself, seeing other Latinos hike or BIPOC individuals was really refreshing to see.
Yes.
Because for so many years, I was hiking solo and I was the only Latino hiking out there. When I was hiking around or in the Sierras or all over the place, I was one amongst many that didn't look like me. And whenever I saw another Hispanic or Latino on the trail, we're like, "Hey, how are you?"
Yeah.
We're like
What's up?
talking in Spanish, and we're like, "Oh, how," like recognizing each other. But it was very rare that occurred back in the day. But then I started seeing all these groups that were Latino or BIPOC, and I'm like, this is really cool. That more of our communities, especially minority communities, are getting out there, because that's not the case. That never used to be the case. And so, as I said, earlier on, the idea came about with my friends where we were like trying to push for a particular goal, in this case, Whitney, and other people started to join us. Like on our training program, our plans, we started to post it on socials and like, hey, we're doing this hike and like, I want to go. And people started to join and the group started to become bigger and bigger and bigger. I met a good friend of mine, Chris, who's hopefully watching. He's a beast. This guy is someone that I admire personally. He's like a mountain goat. Just to give you an idea, you start hiking with him, and then if you turn, then he's like a mile away already. Gone. And so like when we got more people together, then they started like really liking hiking with us. They liked the vibes, and that's when we decided to form our official group, because we're like, all right, we could keep doing this and creating more opportunities for people to join us on the hikes, and people did. And like the more we put stuff out there, the more people join. Sometimes earlier on, we were getting like maybe 10 people hiking with us, and then it grew to 15, 20, 30, 40, 50.
Wow.
I mean, on our anniversary, 60 plus. I mean, I couldn't believe that 60 plus people want to hike Cucamonga. And we're about to do something really, truly amazing, I think. We got so lucky with 6 Whitney permits next month on the same day.
No, you're kidding me.
Yes. So we're taking about 60 people to Whitney on a particular, I'm not gonna say
Wow.
the date, but on a particular Sunday. And so mind blown that 60 plus people want to hike with us to Whitney when 3 years ago, only 5 of us started this whole thing, this whole movement, you know? And so that's what I'm saying. We formed Vamos because people wanted an outlet. People wanted a space, particularly Latinos or BIPOC, but everybody's welcome, of course. And like everybody hikes with us. But this space really was created for our minority communities, our Latino, our BIPOC, so that they feel safe, right? With people that look like them, that speak their languages, that have the same culture, and they have the same vibes. And when other people from other communities or minorities join us, then it's cool because you know we learn about them, we learn about each other, and we have the same vibes. We have the exact same vibes, which makes it really cool. And we've been at it ever since. That's one of the main reasons why we created Vamos. Vamos in Spanish is a Spanish word that means let's go in English or come on.
Such a great word.
And you know, like and Manny, who's here, he knows this. Every time that we're hiking up a mountain, we're always like yelling "Vamos!" You know, like from far away, because that's our way to motivate people to keep going, to keep pushing.
It's the war cry.
It's like, come on, you can do this. We're almost there. Not really, but we're almost there. And like we're hiking and we're climbing and like we're motivating each other with that word. And as I've said, we love to have other communities and in the BIPOC community to join us, and we learn other words on how to say let's go in different languages too. You know, I just learned a brand new word in Peru from the Inca language, Quechua.
Quechua.
So the way you say vamos in Quechua is haku. So like back in Peru, we're like haku, come on, let's go, right?
That's dope.
Andiamo in Italian, and it also means come on, let's go. So whenever we have an Italian guy join us, we're always like andiamo, like let's go, vamos. And so that's really the essence and the spirit of our crew, to not only motivate each other when we're there, but also to bring communities that would normally not have the outlet or the space to do so with other people that look like them. Here it is. Here's the community, here's the group, and of course everybody's welcome to join us.
So it sounds like you already answered what the origin story behind the name Vamos hiking is.
The origin story is another funny story.
Oh, it's not just yelling Vamos all the time?
No.
Okay.
It's a different thing. I'm gonna try to keep it short, but a friend of mine's, his name is George. We hiked Half Dome again like 3+ years ago. I got a permit for 3 people, and so I tell my friends at the time, "Hey, I'm gonna hike Half Dome. Do you want to go?" He's like, "Yeah, I want to go." Another friend signed up too, but he ended up bailing out on me at the end. So it was just me and George. And so, you know, I gave him a training program, a plan. Hey, like Half Dome is hard, and like you have to be like fit and like, in condition and have endurance because it's steep, and then you got the cables and what have you. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna train. And so we meet up there in Yosemite, and you know, we start going up, you know, the famous stairs to Bernal Falls,
Oh,
right?
the mist
Have you
trail?
done that? The mist trail,
Yes.
right? If you recall all those stairs that go up, and I see him, and he's suffering. He's like huffing and puffing, breathing hard, sweating, stopping every 5 minutes. And I tell him, hey, what's going on? Did you train? He's like, I didn't train
Oh, no.
at
Oh,
all.
Lord.
I did a few runs, he says, but he didn't train at all. And I'm like, oh no.
That's such a long day too. It's like 16 miles total.
Yes. And like, I think almost 5,000 feet of elevation,
Oh, yeah, it's a good
gain, if
amount.
not more, I think. And so he was suffering and puffing, but you know, like he was saying, no, but I gotta make it to the top because that's my goal, that's my personal goal, right? That was his mindset. And so I'm like, all right, let's keep going. But I'm not kidding you, from the Bernal Falls all the way to the base of the cables, right before you go to the cables, he was suffering, and he was having all sorts of issues too, like pain in his legs. He was like all over the place. But one of the things, and this is how the word Vamos came about, sometimes I would like get myself further apart from him, like further ahead, and I kept hearing something in the background, like a man yelling, like screaming his lungs out, and the word that he was yelling and screaming was "vamos," because
Wow.
he was saying "vamos" to himself to keep going, to keep pushing, regardless of all the pain that he was going through. And like every so often, I would hear that as an indicator that he was still like back there, and I would wait for him. And so, you know, that's how the war came about, because he was able to make it to the top. And you know, when he made it to the top, he just fell on the ground. He was like crying. He was yelling. Vamos.
He's still yelling vamos on the ground?
Screaming, but because he made it, right? It was pure sheer will that got him to the top of the half dome. And you know, we took that word because that word has meaning. That regardless of your condition, how fit or unfit you are, it's all here, right? It's all in the mind. It's all in the mindset. And when you push yourself, in this case, shouting "vamos," you know, from the top of your lungs, you could do anything. I truly believe that anybody can do anything, right?
As long as you shout the word vamos.
As long as you
on
shout
repeat.
the word "vamos" on repeat from the top of your lungs, and that could get you anything, anywhere. And so that we took that word to heart, because we see it on every hike, right? Hikers that perhaps it's their first ever mountain peak, and a lot of them are their first ever mountain peak, but they get there. Hopefully with the motivation that we offer, with the support, with the coordination and the structure that we have in our group, the experience that we've gained. We have a saying that we leave no one behind, and thankfully we've never left anybody behind, because we care for our hikers and the people, and to see them reach the mountain peak, because we do mostly mountain peaks, is magical. Again, a shot right there, because it simply is. It simply is.
Replace with majestic.
Majestic. It's majestic. It's a beautiful thing to see, right? Somebody accomplishing something that they probably didn't think they would ever do, or they didn't think they could do. I feel honored to have been a part of a lot of those moments where I have seen people struggle in pain and suffering, and like feeling like they can't do it anymore, and even telling me, "Hey, Luis, I can't do this anymore. Like I have to stop. Like call the helicopter because I don't want to do this anymore." And I'm like, yes, you can. You know, I'm there to support them. I'm there to walk them through. And it's not just me. It's people like my friend Manny. It's people like Roberto, who was part of my crew. Chris, you know, Heidi, Berenice. I have a lot of people that are becoming leaders within the group, and
Wonderful.
are now like, you know, spreading that motivation and that inspiration to others to keep pushing, to keep going. And so that's what we're about. And the word that we shout, that we scream out of our lungs when we're suffering or when we see others suffer and in pain is "vamos."
That might be one of the most entertaining and awesome origin stories of a hiking group name or a trail name I've heard on the pod in a long time, Luis. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny, but also inspirational. And you know, sometimes I'm hiking with the group, and I'm usually the one shouting it, but sometimes I'm just like tired or what have you, and then somebody's yelling and screaming "vamos" like from either back there or above, and I'm like, yes, that's exactly what we're about.
I gotta tell you, just to go back to like the hiking group scene out here, and how you were noticing that in the rest of the world, the country, a lot of the outdoor recreation people that you would see, mainly vanilla, right? And that you would be the only Latino on trail. I gotta tell you, probably the most special thing I've discovered about Southern California in the past decade was how brown the hiking community was in Southern California. Because as I started getting to the community and some of the people that I was following on Instagram, I started noticing like, wow, a lot of the founders of these hiking groups that are really active are Latino or Latina. And that really caught my attention, because you go to Pacific Northwest, the East Coast, the Midwest, a lot of these groups, they're all white. But here in Southern California, so diverse, so much BIPOC community, but especially so many Latin groups. And I just thought that was like the coolest and most special thing. You know, I'm Filipino. I feel like I'm also very like connected with, you know, my Latina brothers. You know, I always tell people Filipinos are the Spanish Asians. Not a lot of people know this. My first name is Jose.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I didn't know
exactly.
this either. Yeah.
You know, we were colonized by the Spanish. A lot of our last names, Gonzalez,
I'm
Garcia.
gonna start calling you Jose from now
Oh my
on.
goodness, here we go. And when I started first hiking with these other Latino groups, when I first started getting into my outdoor journey hiking transformation here in Southern California, I even started saying the word like vamonos and taking it
Vámonos,
and
yeah.
on our hikes, like when I say, all right, let's go, let's get started, like vamonos, you know? So when I saw you pop onto the scene and had the word or had the name Vamos Hiking Club, I'm like, that's such a great name.
Yeah.
So thank you for sharing that origin story. And I don't think I'll ever forget your friend on Half Dome just chanting to himself, remotivating himself to get to the top of the damn mountain. Vamos, vamos, vamos.
That word got him to the top, man. And that again, that sense of motivation, self-motivation, and just pure sheer will is what gets a lot of people out there as well, which is again a beautiful thing to see, and something that I think it's needed with every hiker. Because regardless of how much experience or skill you have, you can have a bad day. I've had bad days, and the word that keeps pushing me forward is vamos.
And you know, your group in particular, as you've mentioned a bit, you know, you guys like to focus on the mountain peaks, the challenging, intense treks. You know, was there like a personal experience or life event that really sparked this? Yes, I know your dad mentioned, you know, or not mentioned, but brought you on these like harder hikes when you're a young kid. But was there anywhere in between that to the time now where you're like, yes, I really want to focus like with Vamos hiking crew at least, you know, bagging peaks, people really challenging themselves, more elevation gain, longer mileage, you know, more remote peaks, doing backpacking trips. Like, was there anything in between that also helped like solidify you wanting to carry this energy and ethos into Vamos hiking crew, just doing these challenging, more challenging treks?
Yeah, that's another great question. The why. It's a very personal part of my life as to the why of why the mountain peaks, why the big challenges, why is it that we do this at Vamos, and I've actually never shared this like publicly, not even
Whatever
on my
you're
socials.
comfortable
No, no,
with.
no.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think I'm willing to
Okay.
share. It's been a while now, and I do share this story with people on the trail, and I think it's important because one of the things that I found in the hiking community is that a lot of us have gone through similar phases in our lives, right? Struggles, whether it's a big struggle or a personal situation that has like put you down. And in my case, I did go through something like that about 6+ years ago, and that was my divorce. I used to be married for a long time, and obviously things didn't work out to my expectations, and so that marriage ended in divorce. And at the time of my divorce, I was really broken. I was really broken. I had grown up in a religious type setting, so marriage was something like something that you really didn't that was forever, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't something that where divorce came into the equation at any point. That's a thought that as a religious individual, I didn't need to have. But unfortunately, again, things didn't work out. And so when I was going through my divorce, I did get depressed a little bit. I went through a little bit a phase of depression, and through that time, I didn't have many outlets. I wasn't hiking at the time as much as I wanted to because of everything that was going
Of
on.
course, yeah.
But through it all, I remember the one thing that I had been doing, and that always helped me, and that was hiking. That was trekking. That was being in the mountains. That was being out there, because I always, when I'm out there, I always feel at peace. I always feel a sense of, all right, I'm able to work through my problems and my thoughts and walk out a new man, so to speak. And so as I was going through that mode of depression and kind of battling through a lot of thoughts and perhaps even inner demons, I vividly remember forcing myself to go to a mountain peak, right? I was already hiking at the time. And so I was like, all right, like I gotta get out there. I gotta like really dust this thing off, a failure of my life. I get it, but like I gotta pull myself back up from this hole that I'm in, and stop doing the things that I thought were helping me, which they weren't, and go back to the things that I knew were helpful. In this case, hiking. And so I vividly remember just going online, recreation.gov or whatever, and like just searching for mountains. Like, what can I do? And the very first mountain that popped up in the browsing search box was Whitney. And I'm like, I'm searching, and I see a permit for, I don't even know what day. I see a permit, I'm booking it.
Book.
One person, backpacking. And so I did that, right? I pulled myself up. I got my backpack, my backpacking gear. I'm like, I'm gonna spend a few days in the mountains just to like take care of everything that I'm going through, and all these sad thoughts and the depression that I was struggling at the time. And yeah, I took my problems to the mountain, and you know what? I left them there. It totally changed my whole life, which is why I always call Whitney one of my most favorite mountains in the whole wide world, because that mountain changed me. I solo backpack Whitney, got to trail camp. Again, I was kind of feeling scared because that was my first time doing Whitney,
I
a
was gonna ask,
14er.
was this your first time?
First time doing Whitney, it was a
Ooh.
14er. I was alone. There weren't that many people when I did it. And then I was like, I want to see sunrise. Like when I was camping at trailheads, like a thought popped in my head. It's like, I want to be the first to see the sunrise up there. And so I woke up like at 1 a.m. from trail camp, and I started hiking. And I was the only one hiking through the 99 switchbacks. I didn't see no other person from the trail camp all the way to the JMT junction. And I felt scared, I felt alone, but uh, a, a crazy thing happened, which was I started to release all the anger and all the remorse and all these thoughts of failure every step that I was taking towards the summit of Whitney. All this stuff started to like just get out. And again, it's hard to describe, but I started feeling, it's funny and ironic, because at altitude you start feeling heavier. The higher you go, the heavier the air gets. The heavier you get, the more bloated you get. Fat fingers and all that. But you know what? That day, the higher I got, the lighter I felt. And I think I felt lighter because all these emotions and feelings and negative energy was leaving my body. And I was able to get to the summit to see the sunrise. I still have it in my feed, in my Instagram feed. And oh boy, I mean, I started crying. It was so cold. It was so cold that the tears froze. I'm not kidding you, man. The
Really?
tears froze because it was like minus like 20 or something. But it didn't matter because, when I saw that sunrise at Whitney for the very first time, I felt like a new person. Forgiven my ex-partner, forgiven myself really, and knew that things were gonna get better, and things did. Things did. Like I walked out of the mountain a brand new man. And it was due to the personal challenge of doing a 14er for the very first time, solo, mind you, and not knowing whether I was going to be successful or not, and truly looking inwards, right, and seeing that I was capable of doing much more, and that I was capable of getting out of that hole, literally, physically, quite figuratively, out of that hole up to the tallest point in the lower 48 states. That I will never forget that moment, which is why I keep going to that mountain, and which is why I love the challenges, because going to a mountain peak and pushing yourself allows you to really reflect on whatever you're working through. I'm not saying that any other hike can't do that. I think it can, but whenever you're pushing yourself to your limit, you learn something new about yourself, like traveling too. And I see it with everybody that I talk to. They really, not that the problems go away, but you're able to work them out. right? You're able to work them out and understand that this problem, this is nothing compared to what I just did. This crazy mountain, this crazy 10 peak challenge that we have, or 9 peak challenge, or rim to rim, or the Inca Trail, or hiking up an active volcano, or doing something in the Eastern Sierras, or backpacking for 30 miles. This thing that I just did is bigger than all these little things that are in our heads, that sometimes we make them too big when they shouldn't be. And that's why we do what we do, because I think it helps. Like, it helped me.
Oof, Luis, I'm still processing your
Yeah.
entire Mount Whitney story, the why. You got me all in my feels, man. Like, as you were sharing your story, I really felt that. And that section when you said, as you were getting higher in elevation, because as you mentioned, Mount Whitney is the tallest mountain in the lower 48 states. It stands at 14,504 feet. But instead of you feeling slower, more sluggish, slogging along, you felt lighter. Your spirit felt lighter.
It did.
Like, that was such a beautiful way of how you just described that. And I really felt that. And to your point about doing such a challenging mountain and such a gorgeous mountain, you know, when you do these treks, especially something like a Mount Whitney, it really cleanses your soul, cleanses your spirit, and also just rebuilds you back up. I think one of the most beautiful things about hosting this podcast, one of the most common themes, is that what we do, hiking is healing, peak bagging is healing, especially these much more challenging ones. Not to say that a nature stroll or like a moderate hike can't do that for you, but my God, like when you do something like a Whitney or like a Baldy, or, you know, just something in the more challenging realm, you really leave it all out there. And you left those demons behind there. You built yourself back up.
Exactly. I mean, you know what's great about what we're building, and not just with Vamos, but like every group out there, including your own, is you start recognizing that you're not the only one dealing with this stuff, you know, or have dealt with similar stuff, or are going through, or will in the future. There's a lot of us. There's a lot of us, and that's what this community is about. And I'm not saying that everybody has problems, because I think some people just hike because they love it, it's a hobby, or they enjoy it, which is great as well. We all share the same feeling, but I think a lot of people that hike with us have similar stories, and they look to these outlets and these spaces to release all that. And I've personally seen it firsthand, where they're actually releasing this stuff, right? They're crying themselves out because they have been going through personal issues. And I mean, that just happened in the Inca Trail for us. I mean, there was an individual that I know, you know, has been going through some stuff. And as she was hiking to the tallest pass of the Inca Trail, I mean, she released it all, right? And to be there to see that is really special. But it reminds me that we use this outlet to sometimes deal with our personal situations, and it helps. I think it's the best therapy out there, to be honest. You know, and I've been to a therapist or two myself, but no, I mean, I think the best therapist is a challenging peak, a challenge on its own. We're about to do in October, in this late September, our 10 peak challenge with Vamos, where we climb 10 peaks in one day.
San Gabriel Mountains?
Yeah, San Gabriel Mountains.
Awesome.
Takes us about 20 to 24 hours to do it. And man, I tell you, it's like you see people for their true selves, and you see all sorts of emotions. Not just that challenge, but every challenge that we do. Just to finish this thought is, you know, again, when you see yourself accomplishing something so big and humongous to yourself, and for yourself, then, and you look back at those moments and later in your life, whenever you're having any type of situation or issue, yeah, you're able to see, like, I did that, and I was able to not only physically, emotionally, and mentally, and perhaps even spiritually accomplish that. So this little problem that's in front of me now, that's nothing. And you're able to do anything.
Yeah, Whitney, I remember you made an Instagram post, and in your caption, the way you described that Whitney experience, that Whitney day, that had me very intrigued. I was like, oh, he had like a spiritual awakening
I do
on
have
that
a
mountain.
I do have a reel about my backpacking trip back in the day. Yeah, it was about that. Yeah.
And how when you summited Whitney or just came out of that experience, like literally and figuratively, you climbed out of that depression, that depressive hole. I know how that feels like too. It's something you never forget, and the fact that it was on such a gorgeous and challenging and you know, too many superlatives to describe Whitney. I just think that's one of the best Whitney stories I've heard in a long time.
Yeah. Thank you, man.
And thank you for sharing that story. I know it's deeply personal, but I think, like you said, like you've healed, you're in a much better headspace for you to share so that others also realize, like, oh, I'm not alone. You know, like these are powerful places that we can go to release, to reclaim ourselves again, to build ourselves back up and rewire our mind of how we think about ourselves. Because I think that's one of the most important things about getting outside. It allows us to get outside of our own mind, because when we're standing still, we're in our cubicle or in the city, you know, these negative thoughts, they just run rampant in your mind. I think it's called the monkey mind. It's also known as, God, I said this on the podcast so many times. It's known as the monkey mind, and also rumination, the negative thought
Yes.
patterns that
Yes.
run over and over in your mind, like to the point that it just tears you apart. So,
Which is why we gotta get out there, hiking, trekking, mountaineering, backpacking, camping,
all the things.
traveling. All these things gets us out of this mindset that you're just describing.
Thank you, brother. I really appreciate that you shared that story. I think these are the stories that especially people really, they feel it in their soul.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
I know this topic, you've also been touching upon it, but I know this topic especially means a lot to you. Can you share more about the community that hiking has built around you, and what makes those friendships and shared memories just so meaningful?
Yeah, we've been talking about it, right, for the last few minutes and moments. It's about the community, right? I think we've built such a great community, just not with Vamos, but here in SoCal, as you put it earlier, right? So many groups out there that
So many.
are building communities, and like the individuals that hike with those groups also hike with us, and even the people that hike with us hike with other groups. Like I like to join other groups whenever I can.
Yeah, it's fun to just tag along. You don't got to lead. You can just talk
Yes,
to people, be
no,
carefree.
you know what?
I love
I
it.
love it because of just that. You know, sometimes I try to go to other groups and like just chill. You know,
Yes.
I'm not leading, I'm not organizing, I'm not coordinating. So that's pretty nice. But I think what's more important is the friendships that you built, the relationships that stay with you and for years. I mean, for over the last 3 years, I've built some pretty good friendships within Vamos. A lot of people that I now call my friends are friends because of the Vamos hiking crew and other groups in the community. And I think that's what this is about. It's not, yes, it's about the challenge. It's about exploring new trails and mountains and getting out there. But I think what's more powerful is the people that are part of it, right? The people that support you, the people that help you, the people that cheer you on, the people that sometimes also will tell you what you're doing wrong, right, and what works or what doesn't work. And with us, again, going back to the Latino BIPOC, the I think what makes it even more special for us is just what the culture that we share. And while a lot of us are from different, uh, heritage-wise, different countries, we share one common language, one common, color skin, right, and a mindset too. A mindset that if you work hard, you could accomplish anything. And you can find that a lot in minority communities, right? It's that mindset of, I got to work hard to get to where I want in life. And you see that in the hiking community as well, right? I see people pushing beyond limits. We have a crew member, Michelle, who just did Shasta. She's doing a lot of 14ers.
Awesome.
When I talk to her, we're organizing trips internationally to climb some bigger mountains, or she'll probably do that on her own. And I'm so happy and proud of her for pushing herself to her limits. And guess what? Hiking and trekking got that for her, like it did for me and many other people. and I see other people that keep pushing themselves beyond limits. I have a friend. His name is Izzy, and like he's an inspiration to me personally because he's hiking all over these peaks, and he does it with such ease, and
Such grace.
and grace. And I'm like, whoa, he just did that in like so many hours and like nothing, and you want to keep going. That motivates me to also keep pushing for my own goals. Not that I'm gonna reach his level, but at least I will keep pushing myself. My friend Chris, who I was talking to you about, he shares very similar stories than me. I met him in Gorgonio actually, and we share very similar paths, and I see his path, and that motivates me to also keep pushing. He's pushing to do a triathlon soon. He's a mountain goer, right? He will run up Cucamonga in like an hour if he wants to. It's like, whoa, this is crazy. But these are people that I look up to, and that I like sharing. Cisco personally, so like again, this is another guy that goes beyond his own limits at times, right? And he's like, he just hiked Cucamonga 3 times for our anniversary.
That's right. That's how he was like honoring the anniversary. Yeah,
Yes.
he's a wild one. Amazing person. Previous guest on this podcast
Yeah,
as
yeah.
well.
So when I see that stuff in the community that we're building, that's so powerful because it allows you to think beyond, again, this little box that a lot of us stay in, right? And it allows you to peek, and like, oh, this person is doing that, this group is doing that, this community member is doing that. I want to do something similar, and I want to push myself to do something similar, and you do. And when you see that, at least for people that I know, it's very special. It's a powerful feeling. It's a powerful emotion because I take it in, and sometimes I'm part of their growth. Sometimes I'm not. Regardless of that, it motivates me. It inspires me, and I admire those that keep pushing themselves. So, again, to go back to your question, like why? I think the community is why. I think that's what separates a lot of groups from like clubs or what have you, because a lot of the groups that represent SoCal are voluntary. Like nobody's making money. I mean, we're losing a lot of money
Yeah,
and time.
if you're asking for donations, it's just to cover your gas money or
Yes,
treat yourself to
no.
lunch,
No, we're spending time and we're spending energy to try to build, I think, something very special like you are with your podcast. Again, these conversations couldn't happen if you didn't have your podcast, this forum to hear different voices. And when I listen to a lot of your podcasts, there's a common theme, and I think that theme is community, right? These different people from different walks of life coming together, right? Here in SoCal, coming together, becoming friends, becoming cheerleaders of each
Yes,
other,
yes, yes.
helping each other out, providing resources and knowledge and skills for free, just because we want to share these experiences that we've had that have helped us, a lot of us, and share with everybody that lives around us.
I gotta say, Luis, like those bonds formed on trail, they're different. You know this because when you grind it out with each other on a mountain, on a trail, like it just hits different because you're your raw self. You're much more stripped of your identity. So you're really connecting with one another, like on some like survive, not necessarily survival mode, even though that
Deep
can feel like
soul moment.
deep soul moments where you're looking out for each other. You're making sure each other is safe. You're also motivating each other, and then you reach the summit. You did it together. Now you got to get back down. Like those bonds formed on trail are some of the strongest bonds and most special bonds you can make, which is why you see these people when they join your group, they summit a mountain together. They carry that energy oftentimes into their everyday lives. Now you may see them like attending each other's like family events or quinceañeras or just doing some like
Yeah.
international trips together or other hiking adventures out the state or further up California. Like, I feel like when you build community, especially more around hiking and nature, I really do feel like it just brings out like better quality people or people that are really trying to be better quality humans, I would say.
Couldn't have said it better, man. It definitely is a bond and a relationship that could last the whole lifetime.
I agree.
Absolutely. I mean, some of my best friends is because of hiking.
It's just a way different outdoor setting than, going to like a social event, a networking event, a happy hour, you know?
Yeah.
It's, I know we're biased, but I think those bonds in the trail are
Well, I don't
something
know, man,
different,
because
man.
when you're partying out there, and obviously, alcohol can be a
Can be a
factor.
catalyst too, yeah.
But some people don't even forget that night, right? Or the friendships or bonds that they built. So, but you know what? When you're out there for 14, 16 hours, and you're hiking with this individual right next to you, and you're not only seeing their facial expressions, sometimes happy, sometimes angry, sometimes like, what the hell am I doing here?
Bodily functions
Bodily
too might be
functions, some
getting crazy.
odors, and everything, right? You get to really truly see that person, and they see you as well. They smell you as well.
They smell you for sure.
I think that separates our particular sport from any other sport. A lot of
Yes,
sports are
yes.
really short in length, like a football game or a baseball or a basketball game, hour, 2 hours max. Our hiking sport, sometimes a whole day or days.
Or multiple days.
And
Or if you're
so
a through hiker, months.
months. And so no, I think this is a quite unique sport, hobby, whatever you want to call it, that's unlike anything else.
And that's the cool thing about trekking in the outdoors. There's so many ways of how you can experience it for the sport, the hobby, the passion. Yeah, I feel like I could riff raff with you like forever about this.
I think so too.
Could be a 10-hour podcast. So check it out, Luis. Always on this show, we want the listeners to discover new places to explore that our guests have done. And perhaps I will ask you about some of your local favorite trails, but you do have a much more varied breadth of experience when it comes to hiking and just different trail routes as it relates to all over the world because you have so much travel experience. So I wanted to ask you, Luis, what would you say are your top 3 international trails at this very moment, and why is each a favorite?
Good one. I would say in no particular order, Guatemala, the volcano, the active volcano trek is such a good one.
Did you host a group trip to that one, or are you about to?
Several. Last year, I took 2 different groups to the volcano. First one in March, which my friend Manny, who's right there, attended.
Oh, he went to it?
Yeah, he went to the
Right
volcano
on.
in
Hell yeah.
March.
Congrats.
And then I took another group in November. So 2 groups to the volcano trek. I've done it 3 times myself. That one is just, I mean, so unique, right? You're hiking up to an active erupting volcano. I think there's just one other place in the world that you do that, which is Indonesia. But other than that, no. Guatemala is in such a unique spot because you're able to see the volcano, Volcán de Fuego, the fire
That's what I was going to
volcano.
ask. Are we referencing that
Volcán de
specific
Fuego
trail?
specifically erupt right in front of your eyes. And so, when I've taken people and get to see their facial expressions of like the volcano erupting, is like the oohs, the ahs, the crying, the wide eye. It's because it's such a unique experience that a lot of people, I would even venture to say 99% of the world will never see. Only that 1% of the world, if perhaps even less, gets to experience something like that. And so that's definitely one that internationally have not only have I gone and taken groups, but I will continue to take groups. I have 2 more groups that I'm taking, one in November and one next January.
When in November?
November 6th to the 11th.
It's definitely near the top of my list.
Yeah,
for sure.
man.
Volcán
I
del
mean,
Fuego.
so if you want to join, 6th to the 11th, let's go. Vamos. Or January as well. Although the January one, I think I already have it booked because so for November I have like 25 people going, and for January I have like 30 people going.
Okay, November. Let me check on that because I think I have a wedding somewhere in November, but I think I might be able to pull that off.
Yeah.
Stay tuned.
6th to the 11th.
6 to 11, okay.
Volcano erupting it right in front of your eyes. Such a unique experience. And we go to other places too in Guatemala, but that particular hike, wow. No, it's one that I will continue doing the rest of my life if I can.
Yeah, I've seen the content.
Yeah.
I always hear you feel and witness the raw power of Earth.
You feel everything. I mean, you're right in front of you. You feel the heat of the lava. You feel the explosion of the rocks that are just erupting
Nuts.
out of the crater, and then you feel like that force of the sound hitting your body.
Wow.
When you're sleeping at base camp, which is a little further away. You can feel little earthquakes, tremors of the erupting volcano. You not only do you feel it all, you see it all, and you get to live it. I mean, it's so unique in the whole world, and Guatemala is becoming so popular because of it.
I've noticed that. I feel like it's the social media content started to make it a bit more
Everybody's
trendy.
going. Everybody's going. Like, you know, I did my very first volcano trek was about 4 years ago. I want to say 4 or 5 years ago, and like when I did it like that time, I didn't see as much action. That many people. It wasn't as crowded. Heck, the only group that was standing in the base of the volcano was my group, which is 6 of us. And yeah, now it's like packed. It's like a whole lot of people are going, which is always good, because you know, the more people experience it, the better. But yeah, highly recommend that one, and that's definitely one of my favorite international treks.
Okay, Volcan del Fuego, and then
One.
what's another two?
The one that I just went to, it's my second time doing the Inca Trail. I mean, you're hiking on a hundreds of years old trail made by the Incas, the Peruvian Incas, who used the trail as a communication trail between the empire, the Machu Picchu city and Cusco, which was the Inca Empire at the time. And so they used this particular trail to send messages back and forth. What's cool about this last trip that I did, was my second group trip there, was how we called ourselves. We call our group name the Chasquis. So the Chasquis were the messengers. That's what they were called. That took the message from the kings or royal people back and forth. And it's what's so amazing is they have this 26-mile trail with thousands of feet of elevation gain, at one point hitting 13,000 feet of, almost 14,000 feet of altitude. And these Chasquis running back and forth, sometimes it took him 3 hours, right? What took us 4 days to accomplish, these Chasquis, they ran 3 hours back and forth. And it was a team, it wasn't like a relay team, but 3 hours to get a message. Our guy was talking about, like, back in the day, the Incas have the best messengers in the whole world. Perhaps, you know, faster than some of the stuff that we have today.
The OG trail runners.
The OG trail runners, man. And so, like, the Inca Trail is just a really special trail in the world. I think only 200 people are allowed, like, on a single day, plus porters. And so it's not as crowded. You get to see the history of the Inca Empire. You get to experience, you know, how this particular trail was built, and you get to hike on it. I mean, it's one of those worldwide famous trails that, again, not a lot of people have experienced. Again, it's that 1% or less people in the world will ever get to hike. Because a lot of people, like most people, take a train to Aguascalientes, which is a town right below Machu Picchu, and then take a bus, right? We call them the cheaters. They take a bus up, and then they get to see Machu Picchu. Us, we hiked for 4 days, camped right below the stars, under the stars, and then you go through a famous gate called the Sun Gate. You hike up to the Sun Gate, which sits high above Machu Picchu, and gosh, the moment... I'm about to post something soon in my Instagram feed about our 4th day, our final day of the Inca Trail. You get to walk through the Sun Gate and see Machu Picchu, right, from high above during sunrise. Oh man, I mean, I cried every single time that I've done it. 2 times I've done it. I'm about to go again next year as well for a 3rd time.
That's the way I want to do it. However you were doing it, the 4-day trek.
You gotta.
It's about the journey.
It's about the journey, and it's about seeing that magical city of Machu Picchu from the Sun Gate, hundreds of years old, you know, city, and experience the history, learn about the history, the richness of their culture, and you get to walk on all that. I don't think there's a trail in the world that you get to do all that.
Oh my goodness, Luis. Yeah, Peru has been, specifically Peru and all of Latin America has been like that one country I'm like, ooh, it's calling. It's been
You got to
calling.
go. You got to. Everybody has to go. And if you're interested, I'm taking another group next year. That's gonna be my third time to Peru. We're gonna do that as well.
God bless you, man, for facilitating these opportunities
Yeah,
for
man.
the SoCal people or just your network to experience these wondrous places that have just blown your mind away so that they can reap the benefits of doing such a magical, majestic trail.
Uh, Words can't describe the Guatemala volcano, the Peru, and then my third
What
one,
is the third?
Pico Orizaba in Mexico. So I
Nice.
did that last year with a few friends of mine, Kevin from A Toda Madre.
Oh, I think I saw this content. Yes.
And another individual who couldn't summit, but again, very special for her to just to do that trail. So it was three of us on that particular trek. I've always wanted to do Pico, so the opportunity presented itself for me to do it. It's been a goal of mine to do several of like some of the tallest peaks in the world, with a particular goal later in my life. But Pico was like the first step. So again, it's mountaineering. It's not hiking anymore.
Yes.
There's a little bit of hiking involved, but mostly mountaineering, which is a different set of skill sets, right? Different gear like crampons, ice axe, the right layers.
Okay, it was a winter mountaineering ascent.
It's always winter.
Oh, it's
in
always
Pico, 'cause
winter?
you're hiking on top of a glacier, which sits at the top of Pico, right? So it really depends on the type of season that you do it. You'll get more snow or less snow. We did it right in the start of winter, or kind of late in winter, sorry, and we still got a lot of snow and ice, right? So different type of skill set, but that trek, one of my favorites in the world as well. The challenge, the push, the incline, the steepness of it. And then what was very special about that trek is that we were the second group to get up there. There was another trekker mountaineering that got there first with another guy, but we were the second group, and we were able to see sunrise up there. We pushed fast. I mean, we were going so fast that the guy was like, "Who are these guys?" I'm like, because we've been training for a while. I've been training, and whenever I do like a major challenge, I like to train a lot. I like to prepare myself, as you know, be as fit as possible. And so like I'm committed, right, to the goal. And so I did that, and it was so enjoyable because I wasn't like really feeling the altitude. Pico Orizaba sits at 18,600, if I'm not correct. So it's high altitude.
Whoa, this is feet.
Feet.
18,000.
18,600 feet and change. And so high altitude, right? And so like it's the highest point that I ever been to. Previous to that, I had been to a 17,000 feet mountain in Peru. So I had some experience with it, but the higher you go, the more risk for AMS symptoms, acute mountain sickness. Thankfully, I didn't experience anything at all, which again, thank goodness, and neither did Kevin. So we enjoyed ourselves. We had a great time, and again, all these emotions start like just pouring out. You know, as I actually have a reel on that, on actually what happened to me, what occurred to me at the peak as well. Again, just emotions pour out because of the accomplishment that you just did, right? Yes, you train, you prepare, and you're ready, but nothing can surmise what you feel when you get to it. You know, when you get to the top and you see the famous pyramid, which is the shadow of the mountain of Pico Orizaba, like light up the valley.
Oof.
It's Pico de Orizaba is known for its shadow pyramid, which is almost like a perfect pyramid that you could see on the valley below. So special and unique.
Sorry, I'm like processing the visual of the pyramid shadow. What a great way of describing it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I've seen that name pop up on my feed a few times of this Pico de
Orizaba.
Orizaba, and I didn't know how high it was. I thought it was actually a 13er, but wow, the fact that it's around 18 to 19 feet in elevation. Out of curiosity, Do you take Dimox when you do these super high elevation treks?
I've been blessed enough not to ever had any altitude sickness issues.
okay.
I mean, some of the most common ones that I've kind of felt is like the light headache, tiredness here and there. But no, I've been lucky enough not to like take any of that stuff, and I really don't ever want to take it, to be honest. Yeah.
Yeah, just curious because, you know, with the high elevation treks, one of the prescribed things to do, or one of the things is
Yeah.
getting Dimox, which, if you're not familiar, everyone, it's a diuretic that helps tackle AMS, also known as acute mountain sickness, to fight off the altitude sickness. I definitely took it on when I took Mount Whitney. Definitely felt it helped me a lot. But at the same time, it's a diuretic. So you are, nature's calling all the time. You're taking a piss every 10 minutes or 15 minutes.
Make sure that you take that whack back with you.
Yeah, that too. All right, Luis. So you clearly have a lot of experience and knowledge trekking and also traveling, and you've just like gathered so much from all your different adventures. And also in this show, I love for the guests to share a lot of like the hiking hacks, the travel tips, outdoor tips that have greatly helped you out personally. Do you mind sharing some of that with the viewers, with the listeners, the ones that really helped you out personally, that
Yeah.
so that they can take it on their journeys, whether they're traveling internationally or tackling a challenging mountain that you think would be of use?
Absolutely. And you know, I should note first that a lot of stuff that I do may not necessarily work for you or the listeners, right? So it's like, I think the best thing that I could share and provide as a tip or a word of advice is you got to tweak, you got to continue tweaking your setup. Whether you're traveling or you're hiking, it's all about the tweaking, improving, making yourself more comfortable. And every time that you hike or you travel, you learn these things. Let's start with traveling. I've learned with traveling that I could, you know, take a backpack, a small backpack, and be out there for 3 weeks. You know, that's what I've learned. Like I recently came from my South America trip. I visited 3 countries where I was out there for 21 days with just a small backpack.
Mr. Ultralight.
I mean, look, again, right? So how or why? Well, one, I'm a guy, so it's very different from our female counterparts, right? They probably require a bit more space.
For sure.
But as a guy, I don't need much, right? 3 to 5 change of clothes. I, you know, search for laundry places over there, so I do my laundry quite often over there, wherever I am. And then you just got to tweak the different types of clothes that you have as a hiker. We have a lot of versatile stuff, so that helps a lot,
You
right?
can wear multiple
Yeah,
days.
we were
if
just
needed.
talking about our fancy hiking, you know, collar shirts right here. Yeah, we can use them in a social setting. We can use them to go hiking. They're very breathable.
Especially your shirt. Your one's, I like your trail shirt, the REI Trail Made.
This is a trail hiking shirt, right? So you use this type of stuff and you use these tricks to like have different change of clothes, right? I could take this socially to a bar, to a restaurant, hiking, whatever. And it's something that I keep in my bag. Same with pants, same with shoes, same with socks. That's probably the biggest thing that I would say in terms of how much stuff you take. You don't need to take that much. You just gotta really be versatile in how you set up your change of clothes. Traveling that way. And
Great
plus,
travel tip. Yep.
I would say with the backpack, I get the cheapest fares because I don't have to buy a carry-on. I don't have to buy a check bag, which allows me to spend less on flights and more on experiences, on food, on tours, on whatever I want once I'm there. For example, I did my 21 day. Guess how much I took 12 flights to get to all the places, right? From here to there, and back to the States. 12 total flights. Cost me less than $700.
No way. Oh my
Total.
goodness.
And then like a few of my friends
wild.
that flew from LA to Peru directly was like 800, 900, just one round trip, right? So it's a matter of being flexible with your plan as well. It's like, yes, you're gonna take the long layovers, but you know, you play with it. Sometimes I purposely take a layover at a different country or city. So, you know, I stay there, I get out of the airport, I go explore. Yes, it's fast paced, but I get to experience something new or something that I've been there before. So it's about flexibility, it's about versatility, it's about not needing everything that you think you need, because you really don't, to be honest. And that's part of growing and learning about yourself. One of the things that I've learned about traveling light is that you really don't need all this stuff that we think we need. You really don't. You could survive with the basics, to be honest. And that's one of the biggest things that I've learned while traveling. I used to be the traveler with the 2 large check bags, trust me. That's how I started, right? Oh, my backpack, my personal, my check bag, and all this stuff, right? Now, my handy backpack that I have, and that's all I need, you know?
I think that's the cool thing about as you get deeper into your hiking or backpacking or travel journey, you learn to be more minimal. You learn to be more lean, to work more efficiently, like you said.
Absolutely. So that's the biggest thing for me. Tweak as you go, and you'll find that traveling will be more enjoyable and less costly as well, because you'll have more money to spend on when you're there. Hiking wise, same thing. I'm not gonna go over it. The same concept, right? You tweak your bag. I would say the biggest tip that I would say for hikers is don't purchase a big capacity bag. A lot of people purchase like 35-liter, 40-liter backpacks. I say start small, right? Like a 15-liter, 20-liter. Why? Because that's gonna limit you from carrying a lot of stuff, right?
Very true. Very
I
true.
have a lot of backpacks. I have a 40-liter that I'm using, but it's more because right now I'm in weight training mode, right? I stuff as much stuff as I can in my 40-liter backpack because I want the weight, right? So it's a different type of training.
Backpacking.
But like
Yeah.
whenever I go on a day hike, I take my 15-liter backpack and I stuff as little as I can in there, right? I'm light, right? It makes the hike more enjoyable. I've learned to not drink a lot of water, which you can also learn to do. And so the lighter you travel, the more enjoyable it'll be for you. I think the biggest thing that I've learned recently, which I'll mention, is always taking my sandals with me on my back. And I just purchased some light sandals, and oh boy, it's so nice to take your shoes off, especially when you reach the peak or after the hike. But I do take my sandals, I take my feet, like my shoes off, put my sandals on, and oh man, it's a wonderful feeling.
Let them breathe, man.
Let
Let
them,
them breathe.
and you have to let them breathe too, because you know that's how people get like blisters when the feet are like they're enclosed, right, in your shoes. So yeah, let your feet breathe. If you see a creek, take the time to take off your shoes, put your feet in the water. Oh, it's gonna do wonders for your feet.
Such a hack.
And like nowadays, people ask me, like, aren't you in pain? Like, obviously, I've been hiking quite a bit over the last few months and doing a lot of stuff. So like the only thing that does hurt is like like my feet are really it. But again, dipping your feet in the creek cold waters, taking your shoes off, your socks off, let them like dry out in the sun. Those perhaps would be the biggest tips for me for any hiker.
Super pro tip. Super pro tip, because I do that all the time. If that trail has like a creek or some water sources, that will literally rejuvenate you.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, those are some great tips, especially the getting a lower sized backpack, lower liter sized backpack, because I, of course, made this mistake. First backpack I ever bought, I don't know why the REI person didn't stop me, but I was just looking for a day pack. I ended up buying like a 40 liter and a 50 liter. And to your point, when it's such a large bag, what do? You think you have to have it full. So I looked crazy my first year of hiking. I would hike the major peaks out here in San Gabriel Mountains, and people would go, "Oh, where are you camping?" And I was
Where
just
are you
like,
backpacking to?
"I'm just day hiking." They're like, "Oh,
Oh.
okay. Well, you're going at a pretty good pace." And I was like, "Oh no, I probably look ridiculous, you know." But this is part of the journey. These are the beginner things that we don't realize. And I remember learning at the Highlander Adventure backpacking event, Kenzie Smith, one of their ambassadors, was like, "You pack your fears." So you're gonna pack all the weight of water, all the extra clothes because you think you're gonna stink or you're gonna be dehydrated. Like you literally pack all your fears of what you think, and that's
Absolutely.
where usually most of the weight comes from.
So true. And these are things that you learn as you go. Like you said, the more you hike and the more you travel, you trek, you start learning new things, or you start learning that you didn't eat this sandwich or this snack, and guess what? You carried it the whole way. and you didn't even
didn't even
open
touch it.
Yeah, exactly. Or you carry this water that you thought you needed, but you never did. And so you start learning, how to best approach your packing skills, your gear, your shoes, your pace, the way you attack trails, your start times, your end times, who you're hiking with.
Mm.
It's a learning thing that I love because, again, for me personally, it's all about learning new things. And I'm not gonna lie to you, like every time that I hike, I learn something new about myself, about the group, about the trail, about the trek.
It's very important to always remain a student and always remain curious and be willing to learn. It's when you have too big of an ego, you're like, oh, I already know my setup. You're not open to listening to other people. That's a major mistake. You got to humble yourself, humble the ego, always remain a student of the game and whatever passion or sport you do. That's how you remain consistent about like leveling up in your journey, just having this curious mind state and also just humbling yourself. Thanks for sharing all those tips, whether it's related to travel, hiking in the outdoors. The next topic I wanted to talk about, which you actually did talk a good amount about, was your recent trip to the Inca Trail in Peru. We don't need to get into all the details because you shared a lot about the history, some of the moments, but you recently made an Instagram post of just how massive an impact Peru made on you. So let's just talk about that. Like, what does Peru mean to Mr. Vamos, Mr. Traveler, aka Luis?
Yeah, right. Also known as Luis. uh, I think the one thing that I will pinpoint, which is why I mentioned those three trails to you, like Guatemala, Peru, and Mexico. It comes down to the culture, to the richness of its history. Like nowhere, there's very few places in the world where, as you're visiting that country or trekking to that trek, you get to experience and learn about the history. And so, like, what really stuck with me in Peru is how they've embraced their history, right? The Inca culture and richness, and you see that throughout Peru, specifically in the rural areas where we hiked, and the people that we interacted with all spoke Quechua, which is the ancient Inca language. Not specifically, but it has its backgrounds and its history in there. So man, when I was interacting with the people, I tried to learn as many phrases as I could, and I was like cheering them on and talking to them, and they're like, "What? Like this guy are you Peruvian?" Or like, "No, I'm
I
just,
love it. That's dope.
I'm
That's
like,
really
I'm
dope.
not from Peru. I'm from Guatemala, but I live in the States. But every place that I go to, whether it's Guatemala or Mexico, or this year we just went to Southeast Asia. I was learning the language, man. I was learning the culture. I was learning the etiquettes, or what to do, or what not to do. And Peru, what's special about Peru is the same thing that I found in a few countries like Guatemala, because Guatemala still has a lot of existing rural villages where they still honor the Mayan culture and its history. They speak different dialects. In Guatemala, they speak 12 different dialects. And so there's a place called Lake Atitlan, which you'll be if you go with me in November.
Okay,
And
okay.
you get to
Manifesting it.
yes,
All right.
you get to hear how they speak, right? And you get to see their culture, and how they dress is very differently. How they live is very differently from our lives. I mean, gosh, there are still some villages in Guatemala that those individuals live off like $5 a day. That's their livelihood. But they live within their means, and they live off the land, right? True farm to table, right? Because they grow what they eat, they grow what they sell, they do a lot of textiles. They do that with their own hands, and they go to the markets and sell all that. They own their land, so they work their land, and it's almost identical to Peru. So when I go to Peru, it reminds me a lot of Guatemala, my home country.
Oh, I see the
And
connection now.
yes, and I see the people, the way they dress, they live off the land, the way they speak to each other, the culture, the social bonds that they've built with each other, and how hardworking they are, like they are in Guatemala. And when I see that, and when I experience that, it's very close to my heart, right? It calls home. It feels like home. And so Peru, with all its majestic scenery and sights and the stuff that we did down there, it just adds an extra layer that Guatemala doesn't have, because Guatemala doesn't have the Andes, the Peruvian Andes, or the majestic alpine lakes, or the very world famous Inca Trail. It has its own things. It's very different.
Sure.
But Peru just does something to me, man. It changes me. I feel like home. I love to learn about its people, its culture, and I become one of them of sorts. I'm not one of them, but I'm welcome. And just that feeling of feeling welcome, it is like with open arms. It's like, oh yeah, you're part of us. Like, we laugh together, and maybe sometimes they're laughing at me, but
With you.
hopefully, right?
With you.
But it's like it's so fun. It's so welcoming, and again, it's a very unique feeling that I've had in very few places in the world.
And I feel like you really allow yourself to be welcomed by those people, because you are aware of learning the etiquette, learning the phrases, learning the language. Oftentimes when we travel places, we try to make them just speak our language without ever trying to at least attempt to pronunciate certain phrases. Because, if they see you trying, they're going to want to help you even more. Because a big thing with USA people traveling to other countries is everyone needs to speak English. We're the beacon of the world, right? But when you visit these other countries, these small towns, it goes such a long way when you just try to even learn a few phrases or their language. So I think the fact that's how you travel, that's how you operate, you're a culture seeker. I think it really lends to you having a deeper connection with the people and these places that you travel to and traverse.
Yeah, no, it's that's exactly it, man. I like to venture into like sometimes I ask myself why I do it, because a lot of people wouldn't go where I go. But man, I see like a mercado, which is like one of those outdoor markets.
Yeah,
I'm
the
like, I'm
markets.
there. Let me go in there. Let me talk to the people. Let me eat what they're selling on the street. I have something that's called panza de coche, which in Spanish, it's a phrase in Spanish, which is like a stomach. I don't know. The literal translation would be like a pig's stomach. But the meaning of it is that you could eat anything, and like it's not gonna affect you.
That's a superpower, honestly.
Dude, I could eat anything, and I like to try. I think that's why I developed the panza de coche, because I've eaten a lot of stuff. We actually recently went to Southeast Asia, Vietnam, Cambodia, Thailand. Man, we were eating all sorts
Wonderful.
of things. I mean, I'm not even gonna tell you what I ate in Vietnam, but I mean, there's some spicy stuff that you could eat in Vietnam. It's delicacies for them. For us in the States, or for every normal person, would be like, ew, you ate that? Like, what? But like for them, these are things that they've lived with and they grew up with eating. It's normal, right? So you got to open yourself up, or your mind, to accepting other people's view of life, way of life, and how they eat or dress or sit or walk or live. You got to be open to that as you traveler, right? If you become a traveler like me, you got to be ready for that, and not just that, but also have a sense of acceptance that your way is not the only way in the world.
Correct.
There are hundreds of countries out there, and every country is so different from each other. They really are. There are common themes and common foundations, but everybody is different. And so I think what makes us better human beings is able to accept each other for who we are, regardless of your language, where you come from, how you speak, how you walk, how you dress, how you look. Doesn't really matter. We all have a richness inside of us that we can learn from. And that's how I choose to travel, right? Wanting to learn that from other human beings that may not necessarily think the way I do or live the way I do.
I see why they call you MrTraveler. There's so much inspo from you right now, man.
I'm on a roll right now. I don't know.
You're killing it right now, man.
You're getting something out of me. I don't know. You have a magical power too, Justin, just so you know.
Well, I think that we're vibing. The chemistry is going really well. So I think we're both bringing it out of each other.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
All right, let's transport out of Peru and South America and travel back home here to Southern California. where we both challenged ourselves and experienced our first Highlander adventure event. Well, I think it was it your first?
Yeah.
And what I'm referring to is the Highlander Adventure Big Bear Lake Hiking and Backpacking Festival that happened back in June. I think it was like June 17th to like the 22nd or the 21st, somewhere around that time. And I just want to reminisce with you about that entire event briefly because we actually got to chit chat more, learn about each other, and just enjoy the event on. I don't know what day it was for you. Maybe it was day 3 or 4 because I was just doing the 2-day challenge.
Day three.
Your day 3. And actually, let's talk about that. So with this event, just to give people a backstory, Highlander Adventure is this global hiking, backpacking brand. They're in over, I think, I don't know the exact number, but they're in numerous countries all over the world, and they host in many different cities from like France, and the U.S., I think Italy now. They just hosted one in London. The event originated in Croatia, and then it got picked up by Spartan. It's actually part of the Spartan portfolio, one of their event properties. And we got to experience the 4th annual one, I think, here in Big Bear Lake. So I want you to share with the people, Luis, what format did you choose to do? Because this event is very different than a lot of other events in that there's different formats you can choose from, like a 2-day, a 3-day, a 5-day. What format did you decide to do? How was that experience like? And what were like some of the highs and lows from your Highlander Adventure Big Bear Lake journey?
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I loved the Highlander experience, man. It was my first time there. I did the 5-day format.
That's the highest format.
Yeah, I think it's a Hercules format, I believe.
Of course you did Hercules format.
Yeah. No, there's actually a tougher format. It's also 5 days, but it's longer and more elevation. I forget what it's called, but there were a few people that were doing that.
Oh, Ursa Major.
Ursa Major, yes. And so maybe I would do that next year.
Of course you would. By the way, there is a cameo over here of a lovely
Oh,
coyote.
look at that. Hey, Manny.
The coyote wants to join the pod. This park is known for its coyotes.
I saw one when I walked up there.
That's
Yeah,
pretty
they,
cool. That's a good sign. You know, very many native people believe that seeing a coyote on a trail or a mountain, it's a really good spiritual sign.
Well, there you
For
go.
Good luck.
Great for this pod episode. It's just the way it's walking right now. It's so
It's
like
hunting. It's hunting.
That's why the crows have been calling earlier. They've been calling out to each other.
Yeah, I saw the hawk like land on the tree over here, and I knew it was like the coyotes in the brush.
That's pretty cool, man. It's a nice sight.
Yeah, it's very gracefully hunting. It's trying to find the picnic scraps. But to bring it back to your Highlander journey, please
Yeah.
elaborate more.
Yeah, so it was a really nice event, really well organized in my opinion. You know, because while it is backpacking, you are carrying all your stuff. They do provide the food for you, drinking water, which is pretty cool because you don't have to like carry as much water as you would normally do. But I mean, you're essentially still carrying most of the stuff. And I think what made the event very awesome for me is taking out the planning and all the logistics, right? Usually when you backpack, you're not only carrying all your stuff, but you're also like planning the whole thing, right? Where I'm gonna stay, reserving campsites, organizing stuff, looking at trails. Like, you know, Highlander does that for you, right?
Correct.
So they provide the maps, the tools, the trails, the sites. So all you need to focus on is essentially, yes, I just got to get from point A to point B in one piece, and you know,
Just show up.
and show up and enjoy the journey, right? Which made this particular event very special to me. My friend and I, Berenice and I, we did the Hercules 5-day format. So it was about 60 miles for us, and a whole ton of elevation gain. And I don't know how
60
it
miles.
occurred, but like her and I started like to push each other. Obviously, it's the Vamos way, of course. And so we're like pushing hard and fast every day, man. Like her and I were like every day one of the first few people that got to like the point. And this is not a race, just so you know. This is, you take your own time, hike your own hike, go at your own pace. But for us, it was like, yeah, we got to challenge ourselves. And I was on a mission to like get to the next campsite as fast as I could. And like in most instances, I think I was the first to get to like all the campsites.
That's what I was noticing or hearing from people.
Yeah, man. And
You were crushing it.
It's just like, it was like a personal thing, right? Carrying 40 something pounds in my back, and I'm like, all right, let me challenge myself, see how fast I can go with backpack, with a heavy backpack, and that's what I did. But man, no, the Highlander event was really, really good. I think it's an event that a lot of people should look into and do if you can. Again, a lot of the logistics and the planning they do. So you just focus on having fun essentially, and again going with your friends, and again like you said, we met it over there and talked to each other and just met new friends. They have really amazing programs, right?
We did a sound bath together.
Sound bath
You
was
were knocked
amazing.
out, I think.
Dude, I mean, after the hike and you're pushing yourself, and then you get like you're out in nature, out in the mountain, and you have somebody do a sound bath. They had like a massage lady too that was doing massages, and they had like educational programs as well. I love the programs because that's something that we don't do as often when we're hiking or backpacking. Usually you get to a campsite and yes, you set up your tent and then you just socialize, but you don't have like a program. You don't have like a sound bath lady, it's just, it's not there. But with Highlander, you get to the campsite and then you have all these amazing programs that they have different people leading. And I think that's what makes it very different from a lot of programs out there. So yeah, I really love my time doing Highlander, and for sure, I'm sure I'm gonna do a few more in the future.
Yeah, after doing that event and then seeing you crush it, doing the 5-day format, you said 60 miles?
60 miles.
Dude,
yeah.
that's incredible. I did the 2-day format. I think it was like 22, 23. I get it. Like, that event, I've been so aware of it and helping them promote locally for a while. And then you also were helping promote the event too. I was like, oh, like, I get it. You just show up, they handle everything. And it's just so much easier for you just to like enjoy the actual experience of trekking and making new friends and educating yourself with this different programming. Like, this was in the San Bernardino Mountains. I think when we were talking, one thing I remember from our conversation is that you especially enjoyed it because I think all the sections and trails were brand new to you.
Yeah, except one section, but yeah, like 90% of all the trails were brand new to me.
I saw that. I was really jealous because with the 2-day format, it didn't bring me to the Butler Fire Lookout Tower. And I just kept seeing that content constantly. I was like, that would have been really cool to be on top of that fire
Well, they have
tower.
different formats, like you said, so you could like see different things and like, get to different places. I think what made it more special for me was hiking a good section of the PCT, which I've done a little bit of before in Big Bear, but yeah, just hiking the PCT and again that trail on its own, it's like it's massive, right? It's world famous as well. That was pretty cool.
I think I saw you, I don't know if you put in your Instagram bio or somewhere on your Instagram, you said PCT for 2027 or was it 2026?
PCT for 2027. That's
Ooh,
the goal.
Here we go.
That's the goal. That's a personal goal of mine that I want to accomplish. And hopefully, if everything goes well, yeah, PCT 2027.
For those tuning in, if you're not familiar, PCT is the Pacific Crest Trail, one of the most iconic through hikes ever. Like it takes like multiple months, like what?
5 months.
5 to 7 months, I guess, depending on how you tackle it. It goes from the border of Mexico right to Canada.
Canada. It crosses California, Oregon, Washington, 2,006 miles, 600 miles and change. Almost 500,000 elevation gain in feet.
500,000.
500,000, yeah. And you cross pretty much all the Sierras in California and forest in Oregon and the North Cascades in Washington.
Damn, that's right. It does go
epic
through that.
Is the word to call it.
Yeah, it's a once in a lifetime epic.
So crossing fingers and toes that I will be able to accomplish it.
Good for you, man, having these big, grand goals for yourself. I just want to do the JMT, the John Muir Trail. That's my
that's a nice one too.
Yeah, I haven't done that, but I hear like that's it's all obviously very iconic. Much shorter. I think it takes like a few weeks.
Yeah, 2 to 3 weeks. Yeah, 3 weeks.
Have you done the JMT?
No, I've done some sections of it. Again, truly beautiful. The PCT does a good chunk of it too, so I might knock out both in one place.
Okay, right on. Well, we're about to close the loop on Highlander Adventure. Anything else you want to mention about the event before we kind of...
No, check them out. I think I really like working with them and coordinating.
Very professional.
Yeah, very professional. Their content is also pretty cool. So check them out. I think we'll partner with them hopefully for next year. So we'll take a bigger group for Vamos and the SoCal community,
Mm-hmm.
because Big Bear is really cool. But like you said, they have events all over the world.
I like want to go to the original spot. Croatia, I think, would be pretty
I want
rad.
to go to Croatia no matter what.
Yeah,
That's
just
just on the
period, right?
list, you know. You
Yeah,
know, Game of Thrones. I don't know if you've seen that show, but that was
one of my
filmed
favorite
there.
shows.
Yeah,
Yeah, my a close friend of mine, he's half Lebanese, half Croatian, and he told me, Justin, or you, I know you want to call me Jose now,
yeah. Yeah, Jose.
or Jose. He said that Croatia, although it's a small country, it is one of the most gorgeous countries in the world.
Top of my list.
I believe that. I also have heard of Croatia because of this infamous yacht week thing that goes on over there, where everyone takes out their yachts into the ocean and world-class DJs all combined, and it's like a major like
That sounds pretty
electronic.
cool.
Yeah, look that up. It's a lot of the world-class DJs that do house music or EDM or electronic music, however you want to categorize it. They all gather there and they throw one like hell of a party.
Sounds fun.
I know that. Imagine mixing the outdoors and nature, then a world-class music event on a yacht, on a boat in the middle of the ocean. I think that fulfills a lot of like bucket list things.
For you.
That too. I
Because
love my music.
you love the music, right? You know,
Yeah.
like Manny, my friend, and I, we've been talking about doing like a DJ session at top of the peak. You know, like we should coordinate something like that.
think
you know,
we should.
hike a mountain, like, or backpack into it, and like, you know, a bit more secluded so that we don't pollute
We're not bothering
noise,
people.
you know?
Yeah.
And then take out the DJ equipment and do like a DJ sesh
I'd be down for
at the
that.
top of the peak, man. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, because you've seen from the content. I mean, before the outdoor community, I was part of the dance world, the dance
Yeah.
community, and then being naturally a part of that, dancers meet a lot of DJs because how else are we dancing unless you're playing DJ Spotify list? But yeah, we've hosted like some community events where we've had our DJ friends like spin at like maybe a secluded part of the beach or a secluded part of the trail, and it's really awesome. And if you're able to put it together very intentionally, like it's just another added layer to the trail experience.
It would be.
All right, well, we'll be strategizing and
Let's do it.
conceptualizing
Let's do
something.
man.
All right, Luis. So clearly, you are both an avid trekker and traveler. A really amazing combination, I must say. Do you find that traveling and hiking fulfill different parts of your soul, or would you say they are deeply intertwined in your journey?
Definitely intertwined in my journey. Absolutely. I mean, since I was a kid to I'm now in my 40s, like hiking has been, and traveling, both hiking and traveling have been part of my life in one way or another. Truly. As we've discussed earlier, they've taken me out of like dark phases of my life and have also been super positive in my life for the most part, which is great. And so, it's I guess in a sense, you could say that it's who I am. It's become who I've become as an adult in life. I don't see myself being something else from this point on. I'll be known as MrTraveler or Vamos hiking crew or as a hiker
Mr. Trekker.
or a trekker. Like that's gonna be me for the rest of my life, and it's gonna be part of my life. I'm gonna make it a part of my life, and it's just something that fulfills me, that makes me whole. And not a lot of stuff in life can do that. I think relationships can. Children can, fulfilling career can as
True.
well. For me, while I do have a great career and I have family and friends, which are very important in my life, hiking, trekking, traveling are like a big chunk of my life. And I consider those things something that I just can't live without. And so to answer your question, yes, intertwined with my life from here on out, and it has been anyway. So
I mean, the great thing with trekking and traveling is there's just infinite, endless opportunities to do it, different layers of how you can go about it.
so much stuff.
Yeah, there's
so much
too
stuff.
much to explore in the world. It's actually impossible to see everything.
I mean, there's almost 200 countries in the world. It's like while I wish I could visit every single country, I don't think I can. But it's like you said, it's just infinite. It is. It truly is. And obviously, I wish I could have the resources, right? Cross my fingers, win the lotto or something one of these days. But no, I mean, you do as much as you can. Not a lot of people have or will have the time and money or be as blessed as I can. And some people are blessed to travel 30 plus countries like I have. But, again, I always encourage people to try at least one, one country out there. And I've traveled with people that never traveled ever in their lives, and like to see them uh, love the experience, and then tell me, hey, not only am I going to come back, but I'm going to start looking into other trips for myself. Uh, that's just again so empowering to see, to keep doing what I'm doing, sharing these experiences, and not just that, but keep doing it myself and for myself.
Yeah, I mean, you have to keep doing it for yourself in order to do the group trips, the group experiences. You have to keep refilling your cup so you can give out to the world constantly.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, Luis, super excited to ask you this next question as you obviously have so many countless adventures. If there was one hiking or outdoor experience you could relive all over again, what would that be for you?
Oh, that's a really, 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 really tough question, man. Because again, I've been blessed to do so many things that I would, in a blink of an eye, do over and over again. But I love the movie Groundhog Day, right, with Bill Murray.
Oh wow, that's old school.
I am old. I am old. I don't look it,
No,
but I
no,
am old.
man, you're forever young. We keep ourselves young doing these mountains. That's the hack. That's the key.
But I love watching that movie as much as I can. And, like, has a quote in that movie that says, why couldn't it be the day I was at the beach with a beautiful lady, with a beautiful sunset? Like, why couldn't that be that day here, right? Instead, he was living one of his, like, worst, not worst days ever, but, like, at least in his state of mind, one day that he didn't want to relive all over again.
Sure, sure.
And so I say that because it's so easy to pick a day that was perfect. I could tell you right now, like, it's in the tip of my tongue and in my mind, but I think I, I would choose something. I would choose a day that had everything, right? That had a moment that wasn't perfect, that I had struggles on, that perhaps I didn't like, because if you watch the movie, and I highly recommend this movie if you haven't seen it, towards the end of the movie, Bill Murray, or the character, recognizes that what was a bad day in his mind ended up being one of the best days in his life, if not the best day, right? And so, to answer your question, as I'm processing all these thoughts, and I didn't practice this answer, it just came to
All
mind.
right.
I would pick a hike that I did to the Grand Canyon. Well, it's also my very first solo backpack experience. This was even way before Whitney. I backpacked the Grand Canyon rim to rim. It was a hellish hot day, right? So it was a worse day because I was sweating, I was stinking, I was suffering. It was one of my very first backpack experiences. So to your earlier point, I was carrying stuff that I didn't need to carry, right? So, like, again, I was a newbie at backpacking at that point. And to make things worse, when I got to camp, I had a bad experience setting up my tent. Some stuff broke. My camping tent ripped,
Oh,
and I didn't have
jeez.
tape. So, like, I had a lot of issues on that day. And so I picked that day because I think if I were to relive that day, I would learn so much about myself. I would learn to adapt to the heat. I would learn to just deal with the sweat and with the issues that I had. And then I think towards the end of the particular backpack experience or day, one thing that I didn't do as much in that experience was enjoy where I was at. I was in the freaking Grand Canyon, right at the bottom. I hiked it, but all I kept thinking, and on that particular day, was all the bad stuff that was happening, right? How horrible the heat was, how I wasn't enjoying myself because it was like 110 on that particular day, how bad I felt, how, like, dehydrated, lack of nutrition. It was a bad backpacking experience in the most wonderful place, right? So I would pick that day because as I relive it day and day and day again, like the movie, I think I would, towards the end of it, I would just probably be one of the best experiences of my life. If I were to, like, tweak and relive it and redo things differently, that's my mindset.
I love how you approached answering this question because I leave it open for interpretation a bit. You know, it's like, what's one outdoor hiking experience you would want to relive all over again? Oftentimes people say the best hiking experience ever because they just remember how they felt, the views they saw, everything that happened along the way. But instead, you interpreted it in a very different way, which I absolutely loved because you were saying like, no, actually the day was rough. It actually sucked oftentimes, but I was in the most beautiful of places, but you'd want to relive it all over again because you'd want to tweak a lot of the things so that you could enjoy it even more or just be more present in that moment. Great way of answering that question. I think you're the first person who's answered it in that manner.
Credit to Groundhog Day, Bill Murray. Watch that movie, and he says that. And if you see the movie, like his last day reliving that day is probably perfect. And it's not that he planned it; it just came like it came naturally,
Yes,
perfectly. And I think if I when I remember back on that day, I think if I do it all over again, which I have done multiple times now, because we with Vamos we go to rim every year. Now I enjoy it. Now I breathe the beauty of the canyon itself and learn about its history and touching all over the canyon walls. And even though it's still hot, I'm able to have an enjoyable time through the heat because I've learned how to deal with heat.
yes.
Right. So it's like I'm kind of living that now because we go every year, and so that's why I would pick that day. Yeah.
So sad that the North Rim has been, a lot of the structures have been burned, and they actually closed the North Rim for the rest of the 2025 year. And, you know, I recently did a pod with my friend Grant. I know you're familiar gallivanting with Grant. He was just talking about how gorgeous and remote and cooler the North Rim is.
North Rim, I listened to that podcast.
Thank you.
And the North Rim, yes, it's like he said, it's truly beautiful, remote. Not a lot of people go. And I'm not gonna rehash everything that he said, but just to say that it is, I feel very sad.
Yeah.
Most of our hikes have started or ended at the North Rim, and we have stayed at the lodge every single time.
Oh, no way.
Yes, we've stayed there every single time. The 3 years that we've gone through it, we've always stayed there. And to see the images of the lodge burnt down, truly saddening. I mean, it's gone. It's gone, and it's not going to be rebuilt. And whatever they built, it's not going to be the same. History pretty much lost. And we already have a group going next year, but we just don't know how, how we're going to do it now. I mean, obviously, logistically, you still can do it as long as it's open. But I can imagine going into the North Rim and just seeing everything burnt down, all the forests, all the different scenery, and seeing the lodge perhaps all burnt down or something already being built on top of it. We lost something precious when that happened.
You know, that's why it's so important to get out to these places, permitting your schedule, of course, but like as soon as you can. Like, I feel sad because I've been wanting to do rim to rim, and I've been hearing about the North Rim for such a long time, and I haven't pulled the trigger. And now I don't know what it originally looked like in the history there, the lodge, the different structures. So if you hear this story, y'all, let this be a learning lesson. Like, those places you've been wanting to travel to, whether travel-wise or a trail, get out there as soon as possible because you don't know what may happen, especially in the West where wildfires is such a major issue. I mean, just here at the beginning of the year here in Los Angeles, we experienced the most historic and devastating wildfire in our history. You know, wildfires is nothing new to California or SoCal especially, but the fact that it burned urban communities down where it looked like a bomb was dropped, and then iconic trails. You know, one of the iconic seafood restaurants in Malibu that I used to frequent and bring all the group hike people to, the Reels Inn in the Pacific Palisades, burned to the ground, no buildings there. Like, let this story that Luis and that I'm sharing right now, you know, get on out there as soon as you can because these places may not always be there, especially with climate change and wildfires in the West. I mean, wildfires is a thing everywhere, but especially it's been getting worse in California and the American West.
I couldn't agree more, man. You know, when I think about some of the places that we've been talking about, like they're talking about limiting the hike up to the volcano in Guatemala.
Oh no!
Yeah, like
really,
even to a point of closing it down, because it, various safety issues.
Yeah, too many people are
Inca Trail in Machu Picchu, they're also talking about closing it down for like restoration, like for a year or something, just because like it's sinking. The actual city of Machu Picchu is sinking because of all the tourists. So to your point, yes, get out there because you never know if you're gonna have access to this stuff in the near future.
Stairway to Heaven in Hawaii, I think, is closed down too now.
It's been closed for so many years.
It's just people do it illegally.
It's been closed. I mean, I shouldn't say anything because I hiked it, but I didn't hike the stairs to Stairway to Heaven. There's actually another way that you can
back
go
route.
up to. Yeah, the back way,
Okay,
which is
okay.
kind of legally, you know, it's a gray area,
Yeah,
right?
it's definitely a gray area.
Gray
for
area,
Sure.
but yeah, no, that was quite a unique experience too. Domestically, is one of my favorite treks too. But no, I mean, to your point again, is you definitely want to go before it's no more.
Yeah, one of my hiking crewmates and his girlfriend, they did Stairway to Heaven, and I'll never forget the video of her like trembling on like one of the.
It's steep, dude. It's
Yeah,
steep.
and it's slippery too, because you know Hawaii, it's
If it rains,
raining.
yes.
Well, actually, even if it's a clear day, it's a tropical island, so weather systems change quickly. So if you're on those cables and on steel like steps, wet, oh
very
man,
slippery.
treacherous.
I'll tell you from first-hand experience, very slippery.
Oh Lord. All right, guess what?
What's up?
It's time for the rapid fire question section.
Nice.
I know you're familiar. You've listened to a lot of our episodes. I'm very grateful for that. I never take that lightly. And the way it works is 2 rounds. Round 1 is outdoor focus, and then round 2 is personal. So just answer with one-word answers or short and concise answers. All right, round
Cool.
1. You ready?
Yeah,
You ready, rock steady?
I am.
Rock steady?
Rock steady.
Okay, you had to say it first.
Rock steady.
All right, let's get into it. Favorite trail snack?
Oh, that's
I need the Jeopardy music.
off
the top of your head.
Peanuts.
Peanuts for the record. Trail runners or hiking boots?
Trail runners.
Desert or deserted island?
Island. Deserted island.
Waterfalls or lakes?
Lakes.
Rock scrambling or surfing loose scree?
Rock scrambling.
Epic day hike or epic backpacking trip? I know that's a rough one for you.
That's a rough one.
They both have their pros and cons, you know.
I love both, man, equally, but a day hike.
Favorite camping meal?
Ham and cheese sandwich.
Nice and simple. Dawn or dusk?
Another one. No, that's so tough, man.
It is, it is.
I mean, just because we do it all the time, done.
Mountain lions or grizzly bears?
Grizzly bears.
Really?
Yeah.
Much more spicy encounters are much rarer
You know,
to see.
I would never want to encounter a mountain lion ever in my life, because the moment I do, I'm probably gonna die.
They're the stealthiest of apex predators. I mean, when you just see them on trail cameras or content, just see how they're stepping.
Sometimes you probably have seen them or like have passed right next to them and you don't even know.
Yes.
Grizzlies, at least I can see they're coming.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
right there. You know, I could, try to navigate somehow, but mountain lions, it could be your last hiking day.
Robert Martinez, the creator of Parliament of Owls, a past guest of this podcast, the wildlife photographer, he said, they always see us, but we never see them. And I just like shivered when I heard that.
Dude, they're scared. They're probably the only animal that really scares me.
Yeah, but he did say like they want nothing to do with us. Yes, there are extreme circumstances, but generally they want nothing to do with us. If they generally see us, they're off on their way somewhere else.
Yeah.
Taco Tuesday or Waterfall Wednesday?
Taco Tuesday.
All day, every day. What kind of taco?
Carne asada taco.
Can never go wrong with that. All trails are Gaia GPS.
Gaia or guided?
Gaia, G-A-I-A.
Gaia.
Yeah.
Oof. Gaia, for hands down.
I'm not surprised because I noticed the people who are the experienced mountaineers, the peak baggers, they use Gaia.
Gaia.
I love all trails. I still use all trails, even for the hard stuff. But I noticed the advanced people
Gaia
use
is
Gaia.
a bit more, far more accurate than all trails. I don't trust all trails mileage.
There's trust issues with all trails.
There's a
for
lot
sure.
of trust issues with all trails.
All right, Gaia GPS for the record. Santa Monica Mountains or San Gabriel Mountains?
San Gabriel.
San Gabriel Mountains or Eastern Sierras?
Eastern Sierras.
Of course. I mean, our
Mount
California's
Whitney.
prized mountain range. Exactly. Greatest fear on the trail?
Humans. Unsuspicious looking humans.
That's some real trek talk for sure. Music artist you want to hike with?
Coldplay.
Oh, great.
I want Coldplay band like singing right behind me.
That's epic. Yeah, I feel like their music is especially
Right.
very epic for
Epic
dramatic
for the-
landscapes.
Dramatic, right? As I'm approaching the summit, I hear Coldplay playing at the summit.
Yeah, you feel like your soul is just ascending out of your body.
Absolutely.
And one word, how does hiking make you feel?
Whole.
And one word, how does travel make you feel?
Fulfilled.
All right, that concludes round one. We take a quick 10 to 15-second break. This is where I sip. Well, I don't have water this time, but we got yerba mate.
Yerba mate.
They're actually now called, they rebranded to yerba madre.
Madre?
Madre, yeah, they did a whole rebranding campaign. They started sponsoring different like sports athletes. Like it's very interesting.
You should call it Yerba Pachamama. Pachamama in the Quechua Incan language is Mother Earth.
That should for sure be a drink. Maybe you should start a Pachamama.
Dude, imagine if we start a brand Pachamama drink
I mean,
for hikers.
the name is already insanely catchy. I'm with it.
Absolutely.
All right, round two, the rapid fire question section that is more personal. All right, you ready?
Ready.
You ready, rock steady?
Rock steady.
There we go. Favorite comfort food?
Burgers.
You can never go wrong with burgers or hot dogs, French fries. Favorite cartoon show growing up?
Dragon Ball Z.
Damn, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Favorite character in that?
Goku, of course.
Of course, Goku.
Of course.
Who else would it be? Super Saiyan. Favorite Guatemalan dish?
It will have to be rellenitos, which is a plantain kind of mush ball with sometimes they have like a filling of like sweet beans.
Oh, nice.
Or like custard. So it's like a dessert.
Okay.
Oof. I mean, it's delicious.
I love the mush food with like fillings in it. There's
Yeah.
like a little surprise, you know?
It's warm and you could have it on a hike too. Amazing.
What's your hidden talent?
Ooh, hidden talent, huh?
What were you in a former life?
What was I? Well, you know, I told you, right? I was a graphic designer, video editing. Not a lot of people know that about me. But right after high school, I spent like 2 years working as a graphic designer
Right on.
and video editing, and which is why like a lot of my content and like stuff that I do has a little touch on it. It's because of that.
It has a lot of touch. I mean, we were talking about this off air, but I was telling you, like when I first started coming across your content, the reels, the recaps, the designs, I was like, this guy must have been like a videographer or like a designer at some point, or
You
still
know, after high
is.
school, you do like crazy jobs
Yeah,
and like
yeah.
quirky, unique jobs.
For sure.
That was me. Yeah.
I believe it. Yeah, even like the IG live recaps you did of like Turtle's Beak, you know, like I felt like I was watching a movie, like
Oh, that's cool.
a mini,
That's cool that you say that.
a mini
Thank
short
you.
film. Like I was really captivated and intrigued by watching that. I was like, dude,
I gotta
like,
do more of those actually if I have the time. Yeah.
no, the way you approached it, the segments, like the footage itself, I was like, dude, this guy, he knows what he's doing.
Oh, thanks.
Probably is a videographer.
Thank you.
App you're currently using the most besides Instagram and Gaia GPS?
CapCut, because I use CapCut to edit all my videos. I mean, equally, I would say Photoshop, the Photoshop app, which allows me to like edit my photos. So those two, I would say I'm using the most.
Okay. What genre or type of music gets you dancing the most right now? Or just vibing out?
Dude, like somebody asked me that question recently. I don't have one. I mean, because I love all types of music. It just depends on my mood. I think I've been listening to quite lately would be like, you know, Karol G, so a little bit of like reggaeton,
The reggaeton
Latin pop.
vibes?
Just because I just came from Colombia. So
They're blasting that.
I even went to her restaurant, right? So like she had like her music vibing and it was pretty cool. So that's kind of what I'm listening to right now recently.
Dude, I love the reggaeton vibe, the dance clubs. That's where the hips sway. You get in trouble out there.
Yeah, Peru, Colombia, Guatemala, a lot of that stuff happening right now.
Yeah, reggaeton. I love reggaeton dance parties. It's definitely dance floor debauchery.
Yeah.
If you could travel back in time, what period would you go to? This could also be a period of time that you did not live in.
Oh, did I live in?
Did not
Oh.
live in. If we want to open it up.
Well, I think it's quite easy now that you said that. I would go to the Inca Empire times,
Great
and
answer.
perhaps be one of the chasquis, the runner messengers, because I would want to try that out. 'Cause
Totally you.
That's what they would do their whole lives. That would be their job. Like they spent their time out there living and just running or trail running, right? In that fashion. So I would pick that time for sure.
They were just fit their whole lives living in pure reciprocity with the land.
Absolutely.
If you could be any animal, what would you be? Maybe
mou-
this raven?
No, I would be the mountain lion. That way, I'll be the one thing that I fear, and nobody will fear me. So.
What a great way to flip that question on its head.
Mountain lion for sure.
Describe yourself in 3 words.
I don't know. That's a very tough one. Because I'm many things, but truly, I would say I'm reserved, thoughtful, and hardworking.
Great 3 words. And here's the final question of the rapid fire question section. You ready?
Rock steady.
Oh, you beat me to it. Favorite sound? We hear you, ravens. We hear you, crows.
It's the raven.
I mean, that's my favorite animal to wildlife
Really?
to observe.
That's nice.
Yeah, I grew up in Baltimore, so Baltimore Ravens, and then just got curious. Edgar Allan Poe, the
Yeah,
famous
that's pretty
poem,
cool.
The Raven.
No, I would say like the sound of the sea, especially like on a beach. You hear those waves coming in. It's always like very soothing to me, like very peaceful. And I do go to the beach often when I travel, especially if it has a coast. So like I always love to hear that sound.
Yeah, such a great answer. And interestingly enough that you mentioned the sea and the beach and the ocean, because what just happened as of yesterday, or I guess continuously happening,
Yeah,
the tsunami warnings that happened off Russia, but that were affecting the coasts of Hawaii and also Southern California and California. I remember I met up with my friend last night, and she lives closer to like Pacific Palisades, Santa Monica, and we're like, is this about to be like another natural disaster happening?
Ah,
Yeah.
but nothing came out of it, right?
Yeah, I think it went from tsunami warning to advisory or something like that. I'm
Right.
not as familiar with the tiers, but
Right.
yeah, it was just funny you mentioned the sea, and I'm thinking about the tsunami. Clearly not a very.
That's not peaceful. Right?
That's not peaceful.
That's the opposite.
But we understand what you're saying.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
sea,
absolutely.
the ocean, the sounds of it,
Yeah,
very
yeah.
therapeutic sounding. Always a great answer, the ocean and the sea.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so you survived the rapid fire question section. Not too bad, right?
Yeah, no, a couple tough ones.
Yeah, there's always some that you have to pause and let it process. But as you know, as a very familiar person of the show, avid listener, we're at the end of the podcast, but I always turn the spotlight back to the guests. Luis, do you want to share anything to your friends and family, the outdoor community? The floor is yours.
Yeah, absolutely. I think just want to part with a few mentions of people that I think have inspired me to keep doing what I'm doing, specifically in the community that we're building through hiking. I think one of the most wonderful things that I personally have seen is the transformation in people. So inspiring and so motivating because you're able to see somebody that perhaps struggle or suffer through like a first hike with us, and then now you see them like running up a mountain or like trail running down or surpassing people that used to be faster than them, but now they're faster than them,
Trippy, right?
And to have been able to witness that in the last 3+ years that I've been involved in the hiking community and leading a group has been so special. I have people like Nikki, who's part of the crew, And I've seen her evolution and transformation from somebody that, had a lot of self-doubts and, didn't think that she was capable. And now, she's hiking the Inca Trail, hiking Whitney multiple times, doing amazing things that she probably didn't even think that she was capable of. And even to this day, she thinks that she's slow. But the Nikki that I know now is not only fast, capable, but can do literally anything that I do, and
Amazing.
and so like people like her inspire me. People like Gloria, who's also part of the crew. We recently hiked Mount Baldy, and her partner Roberto, who's also part of my crew, he's fast. He's like a hiker. He loves the challenges. But like we hiked Baldy, and she was passing him towards the top. Like I got to the peak first, and then I was expecting to see Robert second. But guess what? It wasn't Robert.
No
It was Gloria.
way.
It was Gloria who came up second. Surpassing her own partner. But she's been training hard. She's been consistent. She's been pushing herself to her limits, and these are the results. The transformation, the evolution of people like Nikki, like Gloria, like Yuri and Boone, the mom and son combo that have done a whole lot of treks with us, the Sierras, the Grand Canyon, the Inca Trail, so many mountains that they've done together with us. Gosh, I mean, so many people that really truly inspire me. Some friends of mine that started hiking with me, like Carlos. Ninja, we call him. That's his nickname. My
Ninja.
brother, yeah,
Okay.
Ninja. We call him Ninja because he's slow hiking, but not as slow as you would think because you're turning. He's right there behind you. It's
Oh
like, well,
Lord.
how did he get here? Uh, it really doesn't matter how slow or fast you are. I think as long as you have the mindset and the willpower to do that, you could do anything like him.
Hmm.
And that's
Hmm.
why he is also an inspiration in our hiking crew. Some of like the crew members that I've talked about often. Well, Manny's right here, a beast of his on his own. He's done a lot of mountain peaks as well, and many of the challenges. And like, he's a challenge beast for that matter. And those individuals also inspire me. Manny, Christian, Roberto, Edwin, Tony. We have two trail runners in our crew too, Gerardo, Vilma, who are like running all over the Sierras like nothing. Again, I mentioned Nikki, Gloria, my brother Henry, Carlos. We have another Carlos who also used to hike with us. I mean, these are individuals that keep pushing themselves. I got two other crew members. One I mentioned, Michelle, who's doing major mountains, mountaineering, right? Pushing to the next
Hmm.
level of
Hmm.
hiking, which is, alpine climbing. Berenice, who, I met at Bridge to Nowhere, and we were doing such a, we would say normal standard hike, but now she's pushing to do like crazy bigger things, and traveling all over the world for that matter. So again, it's like individuals that have inspired me within my crew. Outside of my crew, I could think of a few, like Bree, another individual that I've seen like a total 180 change, from her start to beginning, and now you look at her, it's like, amazing, like so empowering. And so yeah, I just, I think what propels me and pushes me to keep doing this is the people, and to see the change in them and to see them grow is what makes this so worth it. Again, I'm sorry if I'm not naming people, but we got Luis, mi tocayo, Sublime, we got Kathy, Eric, Angel, Karen,
It's
gosh,
so hard when you run a
gosh,
hiking group. Oh my
it's
goodness, you
so
feel bad just
it's
forgetting
so many
someone.
people that travel with me often, and I found my people. I found my tribe. It's what I really want to end with, right? Like these are people that I would never have met ever if it weren't for hiking, for the stuff that you and I do. I'm sure you feel the same and you share the same sentiments because you built your tribe in Just Trek, and these are your friends and the people that have become part of your family.
Absolutely.
And that's what I get out of this, man. I get a family outside of my family, and even my brother hikes with us, so it's a plus, it's a bonus because he's my actual family. and you know, I get to do that. How lucky are we to be able to do that?
Man, nothing more to ask you, nothing more to say. We are at the end of the pod. Luis, Mr. Traveler, new name I'm giving him, Mr. Trekker, founder of Vamos Hiking Crew, Just Trek Podcast, Elevation is Our Recreation. And that concludes another classic and special episode. Peace out, y'all.